Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're just chatting, and then Doku's going to explode in a little while. But for now, we're going to talk about comics and stuff. Basically, nerding out. I hope everyone is ready for us talking the usual amount of bullshit that gets talked. So, yeah, what do you think, mate? Anything you want? Anything you particularly want to talk about, or shall I just bring up what if and wait for you to start laughing?
Well, before we really jump into it, we have to give a word to our sponsor, and that sponsor would be Coin. Buy it, sell it, use it, and abuse it. It is there for you, for all of your love, all of your anger, for the world around you crumbling or rising up like an ivory tower from the ashes. It doesn't matter. Coin will always be your forever lover.
Very, very true. So, yeah. Have you seen the latest What If? I'm just going to ask that.
Is this the I know we had the Peggy Carter one.
Oh, no, that's not the one. I consider that secondary.
So is this the
T'Challa.
oh yeah, was it didn't they retcon him into being Star-Lord?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I did hear
yeah.
about that.
So, T'Challa. Because I'm not going to call him Black Panther because he's not. Okay, it's very important that people understand that he is not Black Panther in this. He is T'Challa. But where do I start? You know what? I'll go first. Okay, let's go with the name Star Lord. You know, the name that Peter Quill's mum gave him. The name that only came out because of Peter Quill's mum. The name, you'll notice me dropping subtle hints about this. The name that only came around because of the sort of stuff he did as a kid and was given to him by his mother is apparently now the nickname given to T'Challa. So, what?
Isn't couldn't that be described as reverse cultural appropriation? Reverse colonialism? Is it only acceptable when it goes one direction? Never mind. Don't answer that. I already know
You
the
already
answer.
know.
I
Hmm.
already,
It's probably racist me even mentioning it
you know,
somehow.
it's funny because the way I actually heard about this
Hmm.
was because I saw someone on Twitter did a what if, except it was the Black Panther what if cover, but it was a gasp, white, blonde haired, blue eyed man. And
Oh, that's
uh,
evil.
pe- people lost their shit. It was actually really funny.
Yeah, I'll give you an amusing what if. What if Black Panther was Howard the Duck?
And I guess, you know, when you say that and you bring it up, the furries never get any diversity and inclusion now, do they?
Exactly.
I can't argue against it. These are the rules you have set.
Yeah. Yeah, but rules don't apply to them. Remember, rules are racist. Anytime rules apply, that's racist. And don't forget to follow all the rules, you racist.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's too easy to make jokes about this at this point in time.
yeah, I know, I know.
Uh,
But yeah, so T'Challa, Star Lord. Yeah, I don't actually even know where to go with this. It's just so insanely bad that you know the only reason they did it so as they could put a black man in as Peter Quill. Oh, by the way, have you heard what they're doing with Star Lord? Or more what they've already done with Star Lord? And to actually cut through the items and go straight to it, because as you know, Chris Pratt is playing him, and he's got strong Christian beliefs. So they've turned Star Lord into a bisexual.
I did hear about that actually. That people were talking about that a while ago.
Yeah.
It and are you surprised though?
Dude, he's still white. I'm surprised that's happened. He's still male. I'm shocked that's happened.
I really.
Ah, hey, nerd. Good to see you, mate. Been a while.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I.
Just, what's that? Just in case you do want to, there is a StreamYards connection. This has got to be classed as your thing to talk about, mate. You are welcome to join, but equally, don't feel you have to. It's just there as an option for you, mate. Oh, we are. Well, I'm doing fine. You doing all right, mate?
I'm. I'm not doing bad. That's for sure.
Fair point. Fair point. Well, choice is yours, mate. Anyway, yeah. You know what? I actually feel sorry for Chris Pratt, stroke Star Lord. I really do.
The first Guardians of the Galaxy was great. Wasn't really a fan of the second. It, but at this point in time, this is kind of something I wanted to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about Marvel anymore. It, as
No.
far as I'm concerned, even Endgame was a bit of a stretch. Like Infinity War is what I wanted. That's what everything was leading up to.
Mm-hmm.
And and I thought Endgame was kind of a crappy ending to the whole 10-year long saga we had with all these characters as far as the cinematic universe goes. So
Yeah.
I didn't think it really. I know all the emotional moment. Tony Stark, spoilers. Tony Stark is dead, and Captain America decided to live out his life as if he could in the first. That's the one part of Endgame I actually really did like because the ending of the first Captain America movie was that was a bit of a heartstring pull. It
Yeah.
like yeah, it that last line of no, are you okay? It's like yeah, I had a date. Yeah, to see
Mm-hmm.
him, I feel like they actually did a good ending for Captain America. I felt like the Tony Stark ending was eh. Oh, I guess if
Yeah.
it felt to me more like Robert Downey Jr. is just like yeah, no, I'm done with this. Just kill off my character.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to get Ironheart Riri Williams, and it's going to be terrible because nobody wants that.
I thought we said we weren't going to talk about that. What happened?
And they're saying they're going to do it. We're going to get it, and surprise, Black Panther 2.
Yeah. I want to see him do that, seeing as, um, the dude who played Black Panther is, I don't know, dead. That's not going to stop him from voting for Biden, but nonetheless, I still want to see how he's going to do this. Yeah, that was a bit of politics. Deal with it.
Well, and you can tell from what they've done. You could start to see it with Endgame, but with WandaVision, Loki, um, Falcon, Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
and now with what they're doing with What If, what they did with the Black Widow movie, and Shang-Chi that I guess now they just don't care about because of reasons. They have no direction going forward. They're literally just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and
Yeah.
that they have no plan. There's no long form plan, and I hate to break it to you, Disney. Nobody that's not going to live up to what you guys gave us prior, and nobody really wants any of this. Like, yeah, mindless entertainment, sure, I guess, but unless you're trying to shill it out for bottom dollar or free, yeah, you better be leading into something because I don't know. Let's do a thought experiment, Jensen.
Okay. Okay.
So moving forward past Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
who is the next big bad? What's the challenge to overcome?
There isn't one. Literally, there isn't. Not really. I mean, you could scrape up Galactus yet again. I suppose, and I'm really, really pushing it here, but you could poke Doctor Doom and finally do him properly. And yeah, no, I agree. I heard Galactus. And I suppose the other one, and this is going beyond bending and stretching and scraping, Mr. Sinister.
Oh, see, here's the problem with that. If you were going to
Mhm,
do Mr. Sinister, if you're going to do Doctor Doom, if you're going to do Galactus, you still have to establish either A, the X-Men, the mutants, or B,
mhm,
the Fantastic Four, preferably both.
true.
But the only thing they have is this, the Scrolls, which means they're going to be doing Secret Empire.
Oh
And
God.
because I know Captain Marvel, the Scrolls, I'm not going to go into it, but
Mhm,
that would be your big bad. You'd be talking about doing Secret Empire. So my question would be this. You've done WandaVision.
yep.
You've done Falcon Winter Soldier. You've done
Don't even
Loki.
talk about that. Yeah, definitely don't talk about that. Hmm.
Now you have the Eternals coming. Have
Yeah.
you noticed they haven't done anything to set up the Scrolls and Secret Invasion and Secret Empire?
Why should they? They're
Probably
just
because they don't know what the hell they're doing and they're just hoping the brand name sticks and makes the money.
look, to put it bluntly, they're not doing a show. They're doing a tell. I.e., they're not going to show this shit going on. They're just going to say, "Oh, this is happening, and you all accept it. Deal with it." Have you not noticed this?
Well, I have, and that's kind of the reason I wanted to bring this up. If you were building up to another arc, yeah, another long form version of storytelling, the thing that kind of made a cinematic universe a thing, yeah, that thing
Hmm.
that Marvel did, you think they'd be setting this up. I mean, they had a setup for it with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Whether you love it or hate it doesn't really matter. You have a setup there. You can do Secret Invasion and Secret Empire,
Yep.
but they've had 3 TV series now and not a peep. Instead,
Fair.
they wanted to do whatever Falcon and Winter Soldier was. I don't really care. It was kind of just a thing. It's just sort of there. It's like, okay, thanks.
Look,
WandaVision.
we all know that they did that so as a shield could be given to a black guy. You know it. I know it. It is what it is.
It, premise wise, if they did it for a passing of the torch type of reason, yeah, I wouldn't really hate it. Don't really like it, but I don't hate it either. But that's not what they did. They did it as a half-assed virtue signal. So
Hmm.
yeah, again, whatever the hell that was. Then you have Loki, which is basically just what if Marvel was Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No,
It's
you're
just
not
like,
wrong. Hmm.
that's all Loki was. It was Marvel trying to pretend to be Doctor Who. Is garbage. It's crap.
Though I will say one thing about it. At least it made Doctor Who possibly 1% better, which means it's only minus 50%. But nonetheless, it's ever so slightly better because of how bad Loki was.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you on that one. And then you have WandaVision, which is its
Mm,
own self-contained story that is completely inconsequential to everything else going on.
yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe it might have some sort of consequence when we get a Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Not that anybody really fucking cares, but maybe, may I don't know. Uh,
I know fuck all about this, mate. So I'm gonna have to go with following your comments on this. I know nothing about the Multiverse of Madness.
eh, the only thing I can think of that they're going to do with it is, hey, remember that stuff we did with Endgame? Well, now we're going to do it with the Sorcerer Supreme, and it's going to be all these alternate timelines, which they sort of already kind of touched on with Loki, and
Hmm.
it didn't really work out that well. And we have the Eternals coming in, and it, the whole thing, sounds like a clusterfuck, to be honest. They
Yeah.
do not know what they're doing with their intellectual property anymore. That's let's just be blunt. They have no idea what they're doing. They're flailing around to try to see what the hell sticks. They have no plan.
Yeah. Oh, continuing the nerd concept, but tweaking it slightly. Have you heard about Blizzard stroke Activision?
I keep seeing people talk about it. I hear World of Warcraft is in a bad way, and Blizzard
No.
Activision is having some
Oh no.
lawsuits.
You haven't heard. Oh, you haven't heard. No, they're dead.
Oh,
They're stopping World of Warcraft, and Blizzard is being completely gutted and rebuilt.
wait, okay, hold on. What? When did this happen?
Last night, as far as I know. Seriously, World of Warcraft is going into air quotes maintenance mode. They're not doing because, as you know, the last thing was basically storyline 8. They're doing scraps from storyline 10, scraps from storyline 9, and in 2023 they're just stopping it completely. And apparently, whoever it is that Blizzard become, there is rumors of a thing called Insight, but I don't know. But they're going to be doing a new MMORPG
Wow.
following Final Fantasy 14 idea.
Wait, so I can still play Lineage 2, uh, an MMORPG that came out right around the same time as World of Warcraft did. I can still play that, but they're just gutting. All right, well,
Dude, you know how they brought out World of Warcraft Classic? You remember that, right?
hmm.
They're going to do World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King, and then they're going to stop and it's just going to die. They're going to merge the classic realms and the normal realms together, possibly. How that works, I don't know, but what the hey. And so, yeah, Blizzard, it isn't a sinking ship anymore. It's not even a dinghy. Someone grabbed an iceberg and smacked it on top and went, gotcha.
Wow, so they literally went to the proverbial reactor room and hit the self-destruct button. T minus.
Yes, yes.
Yikes.
2023. Apparently, there's going to be no more upgrades for World of Warcraft Standard. Like I said, it's going into maintenance mode only. And yeah, the last upgrades they're doing for it is at the beginning of 2023. Yeah, I want to remind you that's like well over a year away for them, and they're not doing anything else apparently. Talk about giving the hell up on it. I'm glad I walked away from it when I did. I really am.
Wow, how the mighty have fallen. Yikes,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And that was a cash cow for them. It makes you wonder that I know we're aware of, the trouble in paradise, so to speak, but
Yeah.
it's probably a lot worse than we realize if they're killing off WoW.
The only thing that they're really going to be continuing with is Hearthstone, but that is money hand over fist. They are literally printing it because people are just buying cards.
Oh yeah, that's a gotcha game. And gotcha games, I used to play one called Rage of Bahamut. Gotcha games print money like a motherfucker. But I
Yeah.
mean that said, you're you're killing off the most successful MMORPG in history.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that dethroned EverQuest. Like,
Yeah.
man,
Well,
that's
do you
a
know
moment
what?
right there.
I'm okay with them doing this if they've learnt from it. If they can identify where World of Warcraft screwed up and not do it next time round, fine. I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to bother with the new MMORPG. I'm done with all that crap. I really enjoyed it. I really had a good time. But pretty much after Wrath of the Lich King, it just started going downhill. Then it plummeted off the edge. Then you landed in bird crap, and then you sunk through into rotten bird crap. And then you probably got to about the third story. Yes, that's right. So that was only the first couple.
I mean, we've talked about WoW and everything, and don't get me wrong, those will be experiences that I'll remember for a very, very long time. I was happy being the second warlock on my server to have a full set of T1 armor when
Hmm.
there was only Onyxia and Molten Core. We didn't even have Blackwing Lair at that point in time, and then running around Ultric Valley and just trolling the hell out of fucking I forget the name of the guild, but it was the guild that Leroy Jenkins was actually part of.
Yep.
So just messing with those bastards. That was fun. I will remember that for a long, long time.
Yep.
But I also quit the game around Wrath of the Lich King because the scaling was trash. The story started to get a little bit wonky, shall we say.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
there's someone who's 9 levels above me and I can kill them with taking almost no damage,
Yeah.
it, that just shouldn't happen. It, it's not that I was like a great player or anything. I wasn't some legend. It was just, and it wasn't that the other guy was a bad player. It's just no, that's how bad the fucking power scaling was and how unbalanced the classes were. It,
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll see if they learn from it. But I have no interest in playing another Blizzard Activision developed MMORPG because I don't need to go through that type of hell again.
Yep. Well, sure. Right. Yeah. So that's Blizzard for it. Well, like I say, that's Blizzard is being renamed. There's possible mumbled rumors that maybe Activision might be getting renamed, but Blizzard is basically dead.
Man, they must have something going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of because that Blizzard Activision was like what the second largest game company. I mean, they're publicly traded. They're like the
Yeah,
second largest game company for 2 decades.
dude. That apparently, and this is a real rumor, but you know how uh, they own Diablo? Obviously, they're
Hmm.
bringing. There's rumor that they're going to be bringing Diablo Immortal, which is a mobile game, onto the PC, and they're not bothering with Diablo 4. It's basically they're not wasting their time.
And
Theoretically.
if they're bringing a mobile game to PC, that is a desperation move. That is a cash grab.
Yeah.
That yikes, big yikes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, there's Blizzard for you. Dying a death, thrashing about on the ground, gurgling to itself.
I kind of had a feeling this would actually end up happening, but just not for the reasons obviously I don't know, but I'm going to make an educated guess.
Yeah.
Not for the reasons I expected it to.
Yeah.
Like, remember when WoW Classic, when they announced that, like, wow, the hype was real. I almost actually bought into it. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. Same. I seriously considered going back for that. Even B was going to go back for it. Okay. Now, she loved it when it first came out. Both me, her, and our little group, we had fun. And I mean, we really had fun. We were our own little 5-man dungeon bash. And so, literally, we could get 2 or 3 other guildies and then grab a couple of pugs and go wandering into any raid you cared to name and had fun. Hey, Jacob.
Man, dodged a bullet on that one.
It's bad, but oh well. I just thought, knowing your interest in World of Warcraft, I thought you should know about it. But back to the comics.
Yeah, after dropping a bombshell like that one, I don't remember what we were talking about in regards to comics.
Probably What If, because that is the latest total shit show.
Yeah, but is there much more to really say about it?
Stop watching it. Yeah, I think that pretty much covered it.
I don't know why anybody was watching it in the first place, but whatever. If you enjoy it, then hey, you do you.
Yeah. As I say, the number of times things went wrong with that whole T'Challa thing and the fuck ups that were made, including the fact that, by the way, I haven't actually seen Black Panther. So if I make a mistake here, I apologize, not intentional. But he wasn't actually given that necklace by his dad until later, i.e., T'Challa, but somehow had that necklace.
See, I never watched Black Panther. I've got through like bits and pieces of it, but eh, from the bits I do remember that I was actually paying attention to,
Yeah,
it's actually kind of boring. It
yeah.
it was like watching it was a cookie cutter Marvel movie, which is the problem that the later Marvel films have is they're very formulaic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they work and everything, but the whole thing of like, oh, the the racial elements and the enthusiasm or disdain, whatever side of you fall on in that coin, just made me not want to go see it in theaters, and I just don't give a damn. Like,
Yeah.
although the only good part about that movie was Killmonger.
Okay. Fair. Not going to disagree with you there, mate. Ah, dear. Anyway, yeah, that's the what ifs. In all fairness, they could have come up with a whole arse ton much better stories, but you know full damn well they're not going to. They're just going to completely balls up the story. I mean, you know that they're bringing in the new version of Hawkeye. It's going to be his daughter, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, she was in the comic several years ago, which was a it wasn't a bad story. It wasn't a good story. It was a boring story, and
So,
that's the
oh,
worst thing you could do.
so if I was going to tell you they were going to make a TV series of it, you're probably going to sit there and twitch, right?
It's not even going to be on my radar. It's it.
Okay.
Chan- Chances are people are just they're going to look at it the same way they look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They'll do one or two things that's a soapbox, virtue signal here and there. And yeah, people are going to point it out and be like, yeah, whatever. I mean, what do you expect from Hollywood at this point in time? If they don't virtue signal, it'd actually be more of a surprise.
Yeah, I'm
But
okay with that.
but the story as a whole is going to be inconsequential,
Yeah.
forgettable, mediocre at best. Maybe it's so atrociously bad that there is a reason to talk about it, but chances are, I guarantee you, and I'll put my dollar on the table for this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be
Cock shit.
unnecessary and boring.
Yeah, I'm okay with that statement. But let's be fair, okay? Marvel has died a horrible death since Disney took over. What a shock.
And I believe there was someone who used to be the leader of a large nation a few days ago that said everything that uh, everything that gets woke turns to shit.
Hmm. Yeah, well, you know what? Is what it is. The problem I've got with comic books, the modern ones, is I don't know them. I was left an absolute arse ton, i.e., a large box and a half of comic books by the elder brother. And to give you an idea of when they were, how well do you know your Marvel stuff, mate?
Decently well.
The
I'm not.
Goblin War.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that goes back a little while.
That was the sort of timeline. Oh, by the way, have you heard they're actually bringing out a comic of Goblin Slayer?
Oh, I heard about that, and also Mildred tagged me in something on Twitter. Apparently, they're also doing a Goblin Slayer tabletop RPG. You heard me
Why?
correctly.
Why? It's D&D. I mean,
I,
D&D covers Goblin Slayer quite nicely.
I, I, I don't know why, but apparently, I don't have a choice. All Mildred said is I'm dragging Doku into this, kicking and screaming if I have to, and it's like, well, I guess I don't have a choice. But yeah, you had me at goblins. Let's see what this is all about.
Let me know how bad it is, mate. No, I'm just going to say this right up front. Okay, I don't want there to be any mistakes. I have no intention of playing it. Do you understand?
I I understand. I don't. Apparently, I don't have a choice. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yay.
I, uh, it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh, the
Let's just.
whole Goblin Slayer. No, it's the role play game is a bit that disturbs me, Sean. I mean, just why? Really? Why?
Apparently, according to the description, you can fight monsters besides goblins and go find treasure and obviously slay goblins. So yay. I'll reserve judgment until I see what system they have because maybe there's a gimmick to it, but
Again, I, I'd like to introduce you to a thing called Dungeons and Dragons.
like I said, maybe there's a gimmick to it. I I'll let you know how it goes. We'll just leave it at that. I'm
Okay.
not exactly looking forward to this, but again,
Yeah.
not much of a
Good
choice.
luck. Good luck, mate. I hope that somehow you're able to enjoy it. And Jacob, I wish it was. I really, really wish it was D&D. But I've got this horrible feeling that they're going to totally balls up the system. And I don't know if you know this, but they actually brought out a Buffy the Vampire Slayer roleplay game back when Buffy was the thing. Did you hear
I
about?
I remember that, and it was so atrocious.
Do you know what? The rules I don't. I'm just going to sound weird, but the rules I don't care about. Here is my problem. One person can be the Slayer. Everyone else is and supporting cast. Honestly, who the hell wants to play and supporting cast? Do you?
Why won't you let me win?
Yeah, yeah. Well, dear old Dodge.
I'm sorry, I had to. It was just way too
Yeah,
appropriate.
it was actually. That's actually a fair statement. You still deserve a slap, but that's a fair
I
statement.
I do, but it
Mhm.
was worth it.
Oh dear. Anyway, so
So
basically, it's a load of crap coming out. Everyone enjoy the crap show coming your way. Good luck to you.
yeah, yeah, the MCU is dead. Rest in peace. I don't know what the hell the DC universe is gonna do because uh, where do I even begin on that one? It you thought Marvel has doesn't have a plan going forward? Look at what DC did just with what their setup should have been. It and now we have the Suicide Squad instead of Suicide Squad, but it's not. And then I guess we're getting Black Superman instead. And whatever happened to Justice League, we're just gonna forget all of that stuff. And
Yep, it was all racist.
yeah,
And
and then
Jacob, I'd love to get on your level, but that's only 3 foot tall. No thanks.
Oh God, that reminds me. So let's not even talk. Let's not even talk about the DC universe right now because that is just. I don't know what's going on over there, but
Hmm.
Warner Brothers, if you want to sell it while it still has some value for your own sake.
You're not wrong with Suicide Squad: Return of the Edge Lords. I totally agree that you should have had that as a name. I'm totally cool with that.
Now, I'm gonna. I tend to ramble, Jensen, so I'm gonna actually give you a moment to ramble.
Okay. And then I'll hand it back to you, and you get to go completely mental. Hey, Oz. Good to see you, mate. To be honest, Sean, if somehow the Goblin Slayer thing has better rules than D&D, that won't shock me because D&D is now crap. Yeah, I'm saying it and I don't care. They created, and once they went past 3.5, they over complicated and at exactly the same time oversimplified it too much. And you're going to go, how can you oversimplify and overcomplicate? They managed it. They really did. They should have stuck with 2. If you had to, go on to 3, maybe 3.5, but for God's sake, stop. Okay, the rest, I don't actually know what the hell they were thinking. In all fairness, it's the same as with White Wolf. 2 was good. Ignore the rest. Just seriously ignore the rest. Treat it as though they don't exist. Only play second edition. And when people talk about the others, just shove your fingers in your ear and go la la la. Okay, Doku, do you have a rant to explode on?
It's not a rant, but I did want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a Lord of the Rings series coming out along with Dune.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, you mean the Lord of the Rings where they're discussing making everybody and his mother gay? Or the Dune where you've got, well, Twinkle Twinkle in charge? Which one? Which one would you like me to start with? My choice? Okie dokie. Right. Lord of the
Both.
Rings. Yeah. Lord of the Rings. Where do I begin? Well, good luck. Oh, no, 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 Oz. No. Bad. Bad. Do not suggest that, mate. That's not right. Okay. I agree with you, Laszlo. June is probably the better of them given this situation. Lord of the Rings, you're calling it a woke train wreck. I think that's the nicest way of putting it. I really do. Oh, June. June could work apart from the fact that they've already fucked over several of the characters in it. I assume you know, mate, that they've changed the gender of several, to put it bluntly, very important characters in the game.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I don't want to believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, but
Oh,
until
they
then,
no, they
let me
have.
live in my fantasy.
No, sorry, mate. Take your fancy, shove a pin in it, and listen to it pop. The
Uh,
Ex-Kings, otherwise known as the father of Chani, is now a woman. Yeah.
but that's not that that
Yep.
ruins so many
Yep.
important points in the
Yep.
story
Mm-hmm.
would that that literally ruins the whole story. Well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
It makes the entire story implausible.
Oh
Wait,
God. Sorry, Oz has just sent me a thing. I'm going to send it on to you, Tadoka. It's in your DMs. You just need to see what they've done and try not to scream. Hey, Candid, we're having a random natter.
uh, I refuse to believe that.
Horrifying, isn't it?
So just 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 for the people listening, from Vanity Fair. New Alien TV series will be class warfare with xenomorphs. No, they're apex predators. No. Uh, why? No one asked for. No one asked for proletariat versus bourgeoisie alien. What is? What is this? Why? Why would you do this?
Yes. Communist aliens.
I, I
I
guess
would love
technically
to
they're a
know.
colony, so
Yeah, but how the hell does an alien become a full on communist? After all, one of the major things about communists is everyone's equal. Well, in a hive, not everyone's equal, to say the least. In fact, you've got worker drones, which are nothing, the warrior caste, which are at least vaguely worth the effort, the drone class, which are male breeders, and the queen, who is ultimate god and above everything else. None
so
of which
it's
counts as communist to me.
it's kind of strange. How are they got to get around the warriors overthrowing the queen? Isn't doesn't that go against the modern progressive uh stack, modern progressive lingo? Like it's a bunch of males. Like, are the warriors males? I don't even fucking know. You
Mate,
know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't
mate,
matter. I'm asking
I
questions.
told you about this. Right, this what I'm about to say is for those that don't understand what we're talking about, and that's from 40k. There is an insectoid race by the name of the Tyranids. Now, if you know anything about insects, you know one absolutely vital thing, and that is that insects are 99.9% female. Okay, not 100%, just 99%. But I actually had an SJW shout at me for playing an all male team when I played the Tyranids. Just, yeah, I don't know.
That that's not how that
Mm,
works.
yeah.
Uh,
hmm
we could get into a very long conversation about Warhammer 40,000 Social Justice Edition, but let's not.
That's politic. We're not doing politic at this moment. We're talking nerd shit. Nerd shit is fine. We're going to go politic, and then you can go batshit in a moment.
Oh yeah, we'll do the politics later. I did have one other thing I wanted to bring up while we're on nerd shit.
Go for it.
Do you think George R. R. Martin's ever going to release The Winds of Winter?
Mate, you shocked me shitless knowing that there were two freaking more books. I only
Yeah.
knew of one.
Yeah, we have The Winds of Winter and then A Dream of Spring.
Yeah,
And it's been, I think it's now, is it 11? I think now it actually might be 12 years since the last book released. Let me look it
about
up real
right.
quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I know. Horrifying, isn't it? I knew that there was one book he hadn't done, but apparently now there's two. Dodge must be spinning at this, knowing that not only will he not get the last book, but then there's another one to come after that.
Okay, A Dance with Dragons came out in 2011. So it's been 10 years coming up on 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, I know a lot of people this is a point of contention within the Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones community because oh, George R. R. Martin's an author. He's not your bitch. He's not entitled to release things. Dude, you've done a TV series. You keep doing uh, conventions. You keep doing interviews. You've released several other books that aren't directly related to well, I guess somewhat directly related or on the periphery adjacent to, but you haven't actually finished the story, and you keep saying you're going to, and it's like this happens every year for the past 3 years. Oh, I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna lock myself in a cabin. I'm gonna finish it. To be blunt, I don't think he cares anymore. I think he just would rather do other shit. I think he would rather write about the world than finish the actual story proper because
Dude,
of how atrocious the TV series ended. And to be
d-
honest, I wouldn't blame him.
dude, if he locked himself in a cabin, he couldn't fit out of the door to get back out.
Uh, I actually remember reading about this. He actually bought a house
Hmm.
across the road from the house that he was currently living in, just to use as like his little go-to study, his sanctuary, where he can just be away from everything and just sit and write.
Uh huh.
I think that might have just been an investment property, but that's just my little conspiracy theory. I
Yeah.
To be blunt, I don't think he really cares about finishing the Song of Ice and Fire theory and or a Song of Ice and Fire story, sorry. But again, I wouldn't really blame him because of just how bad Dumb and Dumber screwed up Game of Thrones. But if you're going to do that, hand the story off to someone who actually wants to finish it. I mean, you've had people who have worked with you before. I mean, I have the World of Ice and Fire, like the end story, sort of like textbook. It's
Hmm.
basically written as if it was like an end story book from the Citadel, like uh, putting down like the history of Westeros and all
Yeah.
this and that. And he's had multiple other people work with him in that realm, in that universe, and at least a couple of them still have to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do it, then fine, dude. Hand over the notes and maybe answer the phone once or twice if they have questions, but let them finish it. Like,
Yeah.
but don't just keep stringing along your fan base because there's still a very dedicated Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones fan base. Just despite everything, I'm not part of that. I I wish I could say I was. I actually really liked that entire series up until uh, anybody who's watched this channel and watched me and Mad Dodge talk about the final season knows exactly how I feel about it. But I'd
Yeah.
like to see the series at least get completed within George R. R. Martin's lifetime because if for nothing else, dude, look at how successful that series was. Look at how much money it made you. Wouldn't you want to actually see it finally come to an actual end? Like, uh, perhaps I'm projecting my personal opinions onto things, and I'll accept that. But if it were me, and
Hmm.
I just didn't have the passion for it anymore, and I wanted to work on something else or just enjoy my millions and millions of dollars, I'd hand it on to somebody else because I'd at least want to know it got finished before I fucking croaked. Let's be blunt here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not. I can't really disagree with that. Jacob. Hmm. I actually know a disturbing amount of Lord of the Rings lore, weirdly enough. I'm going to remind you that one, the bloke that wrote it was white. Okay, he was white. That's
And
the only way I can put it.
staunchly Catholic.
Yeah. So, of course, everything. Oh, hello, Girardi. Actually, yes, physically probably can't write the rest of it. I'm not going to disagree. But back to you, Jacob. The problem we've got, you see, is the only white people in that world are in the north and west, i.e., the elves, dwarves, and hobbits, and the monkeys. I mean humans. Okay, yeah, you heard me. And everything else, all of the bad guy races are dark skinned or oriental or non-human. Are you noticing a pattern here? Okay, and yet they're trying to change all this. I'm sorry, but to put it bluntly, you can't, not without wrecking the story. All right.
Also, bear in
I
mind, Middle Earth was supposed to be a representation of Earth. Like, there is a reason why the people who came from the East don't look like white Europeans.
Yeah.
Let's not. I'm not even going to get into the whole how stupid the orcs represent a certain demographic argument is, because that's just dumb. That's just a really, really dumb argument, and it's already debunked in the fucking source material. They're warped elves, damn it.
Yes.
Can't you read the fucking Silmarillion? Hey, I know it's a rough read, but you know what? There's plenty of us who have actually read through it. We can explain to you exactly why orcs look the way they do. It's not because they're representing a certain humanoid race. They're not even humanoid to begin with. They're fucking orcs. What the hell?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Hey Zero, we're talking about comic books and we're talking about nerd stuff. Literally just random nerd stuff. It's gone from comics into currently Lord of the Rings and Song of Ice and Fire. Enjoy. So yeah, Jacob, that's why he's doing what he's doing, mate. Yes, it is technically incredibly racist, but I'm going to remind you, look at when the book was actually written. Well, there was no racism, or at least racism wasn't anything like it is now. Hey Jim, how's it going, man? Also true, actually, Shirati. He's saying about it's not his body type, it's his brain might not be capable of making the storylines. And yeah, Martin's brain probably is melting in there, to put it bluntly. But yeah.
Perhaps. And that being said, that just gives more credence to what I'm saying. I know the dude has notes. I'm a writer. I have notes for days. I I know George R. R. Martin has notes because there are people who've fucking seen them. Hey, if he's on such a cognitive decline, hand over the notes. I know he's got a wife too. There's no, and he's done interviews as recently as 2 months ago, and the dude's more coherent than Biden. I'll tell you that much. So, what are you doing, George?
If I may just for a second, Dade, there you go. Pop in. You're welcome to. And as for which book, we're talking pretty much anything involving Middle Earth. And no, Jacob, we are not treating this as your idea of porn. I don't care what you say. I know what you're like with hobbits, but stop it. Okay, mate, carry on. I just wanted to say that. No worries, mate. Anyway, you know, you're not wrong with Martin's book being realistic. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I know that there's a whole questionableness about some of the characters in there, but look at the leaders we have had, and in all fairness, and I'm not doing this for politics because that will be coming up later, look at the leaders we have currently. I will admit we don't, it's not as bad as some of the things that occur, but you're not wrong. You're really not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, no. I agree. Oh, 1 moment. Anyway, as I was saying, the whole thing with the Lord of the Rings, I think it's going to go badly unless someone gets hold of the idiots that are trying to write it. Yes, incest was one of the tiny problems, but do you know what? That is just one of them. And I'm going to remind you that the Egyptians actually made an entire empire out of incest. And to be fair, so did most of Europe. What I'm actually talking about is the amount of killing of each other and not in combat, just assassination. That shit went on so often it wasn't even funny.
Not
Don't you'll
incorrect.
probably find Biden. You'll probably find Biden think that there's an extra sweet bit in the middle that he hasn't discovered yet. I bet you someone's told him that as well.
I do love that comment, though. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a window? I don't know. Do they taste
Yeah.
like schnozberries?
Well, no, don't be silly. Only snozzberries taste like snozzberries. That's well known.
So, not the current favorite flavor of ice cream.
No, double chocolate, double chip, double chocolate chip, double. Yeah.
With a hint of mint?
Oh, with a hint of mint. Don't forget that, of course. But that's
Oh,
politics. Let's not talk about
yeah.
politics. Doing that in a bit.
Yeah,
But June,
that'll happen eventually.
you asked the question, June. Apart from the fact that they have rewritten some of the characters, it actually does look pretty good. Gotta say, and I've realised that people don't. They really have issues with the June miniseries that came out in the 2000s. I actually quite liked it. It weren't bad. It weren't great, but it weren't bad. Ah, we have a Dade. Hey,
See,
dude.
what's up, dude?
Well, since I figured we're all using logos instead of faces, I decided to bring a retro logo back for the live stream.
Absolutely
Perfect.
no problem, mate.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I get so sick and tired of, and you'll have to excuse me. I'm using a cheap microphone.
No worries.
People are putting, they're putting coding into things that don't necessarily exist. When Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings and all this other stuff, yeah, racism did exist, but to a degree lesser or more than what it does now. Probably I would say lesser than it does now by a lot. But he didn't write those characters with, oh, this person's coded this way, this person's coded that way. That's not how it works. It's kind of like trying to say, and I'm probably gonna fucking jinx it because some morons are gonna think this up. Trying to say that the Transformers from Generation One were coded a certain way, and it's like, I don't know what drugs you're on or what generation you're from, but that's not how it rolls. And I'm going to make the comparison here that a lot of people like to say, these dumbasses like to say orcs are coded or meant to represent black people or whatever. And it's like, that's like saying Jazz from the Transformers was black. No, Jazz actually was voiced by Scatman Crothers, somebody a lot of people admired and respected, if mainly because in my generation, because we knew him from that role. People today make things way more, out of shit than necessary. And it's like, look, guys, you're making things more than necessary because you want to make things more than necessary because you don't have a life. It's a lot like the Lovecraft TV show that's garbage. H.P. Lovecraft, oh, he was a racist. Prove it. And they've never brought it up. And they're like, oh, well, but you're making things more than necessary. It didn't exist until you made it exist. It's the thing about children. When you raise children, they don't do stupid things until you give them the idea to do stupid things.
Yeah. I would disagree ever so slightly with you, mate, and that is about H.P. Lovecraft being racist. Again, I'm going to word this very carefully, but apparently he was incredibly, and I mean incredibly racist, to the degree of borderline pathological racism. But it wasn't racism as it would be defined nowadays. It was a more, air quotes, pure racism. His absolute hatred of pretty much everything, and I mean everything that wasn't white, was quite simply insane. I'm not saying this in a to say it was a bad thing for him or anything like that. I'm just pointing out that he was rumored to be incredibly racist.
See, it's actually funny you bring
Okay,
that up
so
because
what if he was? So what if he
Oh yeah,
was?
no, I agree.
let
Well,
me touch on this
people.
one real quick.
Okay,
Sorry, Dave, real quick. I don't.
gotta look something up.
I've never read the man's memoirs or any of his how his personal beliefs were. And to be honest, if he was incredibly racist, it wouldn't surprise me, considering he grew up in the. I mean, what was his writings were like from the 60s, 70s mostly, when most of his popular writings came out.
If that, it
Well, his
was. I
period.
think it was
Well,
earlier.
he was. Well, Lovecraft was born in 1890, died in 1937, and his period of work came out between 1970, 1917, and the year he died in 37. And like with all things, Lovecraft and Tolkien and all those guys are only a lot of those guys are just discovered after their death when they're either they do or don't have estates that can or cannot get the money from the publishers republishing things.
Yeah.
Okay, so then again, he's very much more a product of his time more than anything else. So it explains a lot of things. And if you look at it from that perspective, because I actually just finished listening to an entire audio collection of all of the Cthulhu mythos. So it's like something like it's over 10 hours long. It's really
Oh, yeah.
really long, and there's nothing that shows an overt hatred. So this is why I find it kind of strange when people bring up the H.P. Lovecraft is racist and homophobic thing. You have to keep in mind the time the guy lived, how
Yeah.
the common perception of things were at that time, and a lot of times when he brings up certain races, it's mostly him just saying like, oh yeah, they're not educated or they're ignorant and they don't understand, because a lot of the characters from his writing, at least in the Cthulhu mythos, from what I listened to, is from a very the characters are coming from like a very academic standpoint, or a very I'm going to go around and view the world and I have enough money to do so sort of thing. And it's not even just people of certain ethnic cultures. I mean, go look at the Ipswich, where it's the fish people that are coming out.
Yeah.
The people that are described aren't black, they're white, and
Yes.
they're described as looking horrific. Like, so it's
Well,
more of he kind of has just sort of a disdain for the uneducated, the poorly educated, and also the just real quick, the other thing that really annoys me is like, oh, he's homophobic.
Hmm.
He uses the word queer and the proper use of the term, and anybody that understands context clues and the proper definition of the word queer knows how he's using the word. He's not
Yep.
saying it in the sense of trying to, be homophobic or gay bashing or anything like that. He's saying literally strange or abnormal or out of the ordinary. And you
Yeah.
can see it within the same damn sentence. So
well,
it
that's
feels like a lot of it
kind
is
of what I was
reaching.
getting to. That's kind of what I was getting to. People, you can even go back to a more modern reference of Archie Bunker and all these people that are post Gen X. Oh, he's homophobic. He's racist and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, first off, you don't understand. You choose not to understand the context of when the show came out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand. This is Archie Bunker. He's pretty much of the Great Generation era, or he's of you know, the people who lived through the Depression era, which you would know nothing about unless it happened tomorrow, and then you'd be begging for mercy. So when these people, and I'm gonna say this, it's mostly black people, it's mostly non-Caucasians, and it's sometimes it's Asians too. These people, they see these shows, they read these writings, and they think everything's about them, or it's offensive here, it's offensive there, because they choose to make it that way, as opposed to um, the douchebag who wrote the comic series Black and then he wrote the comic series White, and he is a racist because he chooses to say, I'm going to grift and I'm going to capitalize on, kill Whitey and all, free Angela Davis and all this fucking 60s shit that should have long since died. And when Nerdette's newsstand basically called him out on it, she got, everybody, this fucker was trying to get a railroad. Well, he is a racist because he chooses to intentionally write like that. And he's taking his frustrations that, whatever problems that he had with people that weren't quote unquote African American or African or whatever that don't look like him out on people through, comic book form. That's on him. Unlike, and I can guarantee in 50 years, when I'm still around and I'm pushing 100, he will be looked down upon as a piece of garbage more than he is now, as to where people who read Tolkien or they read Lovecraft or they watch Archie Bunker eventually realize these are just products of their time. You take them for what they are.
Yeah.
And if you choose to see anything more than what's actually there, not only has the person writing the work done their job, but you have decided to go off the deep end. You can read something because there's a lot of Asian literature out there to where they basically say, fuck America. In very long and broad terms, they demonize and demoralize Western culture. That's fine, whatever. But you've got to take it for what it is. If you have to take everything offensively, and this isn't political, this is just brain celled shit. If you don't know how to pick your battles with stuff, you're wasting more energy and time that could be in to find something that you believe is good and worth your energy and time to invest in. And that's what people don't realize.
Well, this is so I know you were talking about Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is an overt racist. Like the dude is just flat out racist. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The guy just doesn't like white people. And
Hold it. Whoa, one pause. That's male. I thought it was meant to be woman. My
No,
bad.
yeah.
Genuinely, I thought it was a woman. This is not me taking piss. That's me making a mistake. I apologize for my mistake. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, no, Ta-Nehisi Coates, he writes for, I think he's writes some like op-ed pieces for the Atlantic, but he also wrote the comic book Black, where only black people have superpowers, and they mostly use them against white people.
Yeah, he's a douchebag, and if he were to ever be outside of his normal circle of friends, he would get his ass kicked because he's a snot, and he is the product of the liberal agenda. And I'm not making this political; it's fact. Every single program that has existed to quote unquote balance the scales for black folk, he has taken advantage of, and he is grifted to use to his advantage to get this publication made, to say the least. And he's a piece of shit because of it. And if he ever wants to come to North Dakota and do something about it, meet me at the Air Force Base outside of Grand Forks. We'll settle it there.
But this is the reason I wanted to make it noted that Ta-Nehisi Coates, author of the comic book Black, whose comic book basically where only black people get superpowers, and yes, they do brutalize white people. I think you could consider the majority of them actually villains. But I want to juxtapose it against H.P. Lovecraft, who both I do consider to be products of their time. But I like bringing this up because I never really get a good answer from people. So Ta-Nehisi Coates hates white people. Let's just be blunt. He hates white people. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Then you have H.P. Lovecraft, who, yes, you could argue he's racist. I won't say he isn't. But I always found this particular little piece of information strange. The linchpin character in H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu Necronomicon stories is an Arab guy who discovers all of humanity's lost history and secrets. And because of a result of that, it's a bunch of white people trying to rediscover things that an Arab dude already knew.
Yeah.
So how do you exactly explain that one away? Because it doesn't really seem to fit into the narrative of H.P. Lovecraft was you could say he was racist, but being a racist doesn't. Well, real quick, you could say the guy was racist, but he doesn't seem to fit into the box of white supremacy, considering the fact that Abdullah Hazard is the linchpin character in the entire mythos, not just a single story, but the entire Cthulhu mythos is contingent upon an Arab dude.
Right.
Go ahead, Dave. You first, mate. I'm happy to go afterwards.
Go after what? I just said, yeah, right, because I had to go do something and caught the tail end. I said, yeah, that's the funny thing. I've read up on the Cthulhu mythos, and, it's more of that H.P. Lovecraft, if I were to say anything, he is prejudicial against the uneducated. And during his time when he was born, a lot of non-white folk were uneducated by their standards. So
Yeah.
that's how you can see the prejudicial issue. And I said, yeah, so it's basically, he's not the racist the way people want to make him racist, because if you were genuinely a hardcore racist, even by modern definitions, you would not have a character who is of Arabic descent be the basically central character in that entire mythos of which everything hangs upon. You would find some way to make, Snow White be your,
And now I'm about to
linchpin.
counter both of you.
You can counter me all you want. I'm just saying what I think.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. The basic idea is perfectly reasonable, mate. But the reason we're defining this Arab as a major character is he's technically the major bad guy. If he hadn't found these books, we wouldn't. Cthulhu will not rise from Relay. The cults won't be created. He is the worst thing ever because of the knowledge he finds. Now, could it be found by white people later? Oh yeah, that's actually more than fucking likely. But based on the story itself, he is actually the ultimate in the bad guys because he found the knowledge that actually brings all this to the fore. That's
Except
why he's a bad guy.
that's not even the case, Jensen, because the whole reason Cthulhu even came about and into being was in the Call of Cthulhu,
Mhm.
the first book, and that only targeted in that book white academics who went insane because Cthulhu was essentially manipulating them to get them to the point where he could be resurrected, and it was a fucking group of Norwegians that actually found the sunken city and subsequently released Cthulhu. So it wasn't even the Mad Arab. The Mad Arab was the one who was trying to warn people against this shit. It was actually a group of white Norwegians that released Cthulhu. So even that doesn't hold up.
Okay, fair way of looking at things. I'm not actually going to disagree. I'm just pointing out that is how I think.
I'm just going to add one
Go,
thing real quick. It
go for it.
doesn't necessarily matter that if it's an Arab or not who did or did not do this. It's the fact that who did it was the villain of the story. And sometimes, and any good story can do this with any character, whether you are viewed as good or evil, if in this case he is a bad guy can still be the protagonist. It seems that's one of the many things in storytelling of modern day as of 2021 that people don't know how to do. They always feel they've got to deconstruct somebody, and that it's, did you deconstruct the hero, or raise the villain to a pedestal level or some other garbage. The Mad Arab was just a bad guy because he was literally nuts.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. The Mad Arab was even in the writings. If you read the Necronomicon, like he's writing it as a warning. Hey, don't do this. Like these are the things I'm warning you about. I've seen things that no human was meant to see. I have read text that no human was meant to read. The If you read this, pray for your soul, like, and fear, fear the
Right.
things that are in the dark that watch you while you sleep, type of thing. Like, it was doing it as a warning. He was already neck deep to begin with, but it was through no fault of his own.
Yeah,
You could,
The Cthulhu itself is manipulating everything, as Jensen said, as you pointed out. And the Mad Arab is basically saying, do not face the things that should not be, because I've seen all this and all this other stuff. And but he's still technically a nuts, be a bad guy because he does stupid shit down the road, but he's still the protagonist. And
well,
everybody makes Lovecraft out to be this racist. It's like, he's writing a mythos that takes place in different parts of the world at different times, and the Mad Arab is from where he's from, and you're making him to be a racist. That's not what a racist does. They would
and
find some
again,
way to make the Norwegians heroes, and then demonize and villainize everybody else, when the Mad Arab is basically like, hey guys, I'm telling you not to do this and you're not listening to me, and then bad things happen.
look at the story, The Whisperer in the Dark. that's between two white guys who are academics and they're exchanging letters between each other. And then neither of them are good or evil, so to speak, but they're just in the pursuit of knowledge. And then one dude decides, oh, yeah, no, the evil crab creatures that are besieging my house really aren't that bad. So I'm gonna let them extract my brain and put it in a freaking jar, and I'm gonna fly to fucking Pluto, and
Yeah.
but they're two white academics, like.
Here's a weird comparison. If people actually have ever read the entire, and there's like at least 6 or 7 books to this. If people have actually ever read Alan Moore's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, all of them, starting with, you read every single one. Each one, and Alan Moore may be what we consider a liberal douchebag, and he kind of is. But if you read the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he uses each time frame of where these stories take place as it goes through the centuries, because there's, and it utilizes the time frame with mostly the same characters, and you can see how some characters change, some characters do not, and then some characters don't relate to other characters because they're from different times. And if you were to say that Alan Moore is sexist because when he wrote the original League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and just King Solomon's Mine, Alan Quatermain is
Yep.
basically dismissive of Mina Harker. Well, it's because it's from that time period. And if you read the stories as they go along, not only does Alan Quatermain get to bang Mina mercilessly and often because she lets him, they actually become very good friends, lovers, compatriots, and he has nothing but respect for Mina, regardless of her being a woman. And as the times change, Alan Quatermain's character slightly changes with it because he realizes I am a product of my time. My certain way of thinking doesn't work, and Mina is Mina essentially says, "Well, here's I am woman, hear me roar," and all this other kind of stuff. But she still takes pride in being a woman, being feminine, and uh, basically says, "I know how to be partners with somebody," and so on and so forth. And Alan Quatermain essentially does not treat her as less than an equal. That's good writing, and if all you ever take out of this was, oh well, when he wrote these, Alan Moore's sexist because he wrote Alan Quatermain this way, and like you've obviously missed the point. That's the same thing with Lovecraft. If you're taking everything is racist because you believe Lovecraft is racist when he's actually prejudiced against the uneducated, which happens to
True.
coincide with the time that he lived, where a lot of non-whites were uneducated. You're the one with the fucking problem reading way too much into this shit, as opposed to what's the douchebag's name who wrote that comic? He is a racist piece of shit.
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Right.
Yeah, that guy. Well, his stuff isn't even clever or nuanced. It's just
No, he's
overtly racist.
he's literally putting on the page, black people should have powers, fuck whitey. And I'm like, dude, you weren't born in the 50s or 40s. You were born, I think he's even post Gen X. I'm like, you're just a piece of shit because you don't know the struggle that black folk in America went through, that every American has went through since this, before and or after the Civil Rights Act. You can watch episodes of Quantum Leap, and they actually touch upon how different folks were treated in different areas. And I would see that, and I said, I know this is a television show, but did we actually do that stupid shit? Yes, we did. And not only am I glad that I'm a Gen Xer and I know better, but Tomacotes or whatever, I can't fucking pronounce his name.
Don't worry about it. That twat. It's a lot
Right,
easier.
that cunt, and I don't say that word very often, but that wanker,
Mm-hmm.
he is the everything I said. He's a product of his time, and he will be looked down just upon by future people as he looks down upon white people, and by comparison, indirectly H.P. Lovecraft. But there
Well,
is a big difference. He's a racist piece of shit.
let's be honest about this one. Ta-Nehisi Coates comes from the same camp, I'll say, that believes that Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I should say, is somehow a white supremacist.
Yeah, he's from the same camp that that dumbass Erica bitch is basically saying Larry Elder's a white supremacist. I'm like, okay, really? Yeah, okay, whatever, dude. But again, getting out of getting out of politics, Tomacote's, I think that's how you say his name. His mentality is he's got a superiority complex because he has an inferiority complex because he chooses
that's
because of the color of his skin.
That's actually what I really think the issue is it's I don't believe a lot of these individuals like Ta-Nehisi Coates or Tariq Nasheed or the Black Hebrew Israelites are, despite what they say and how they present themselves, I don't think they have a superiority complex. I actually do believe it is an inferiority complex more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. It's a superiority complex brought on by an inferiority complex. They project one because they have the other.
Yeah, I think they're trying to compensate.
Right.
Gentlemen, before we do this, just want to say we will be bringing this section of nerding to an end, and I would like to change a nerding comment in a moment. Please continue what you're saying, Dave.
No, I'm done. And then it's essentially, to wrap this part up. If you see something in a good piece in any piece of work by anybody, especially the older stuff, then you're not only did the author, whether it be male, female, transgender, whoever wrote the stuff, do their job so well that you're seeing stuff where it's not meant to be. It really shows that you, as the reader, are projecting whatever upon this work of material, and you either need to take a step back and not read too much into it, or it's just really bamboozling you as to why you can't figure out why you're seeing this.
Well, it's also very telling that a lot of individuals who complain about orcs are just an allegory for black people and goblins are just an allegory for Jewish people. And aren't you kind of just letting the mask slip a little bit? Because I would never. I'm a hardcore fucking fantasy fan, and I've never once in my entire life, I've grown up on fantasy, and I've never thought of orcs as an allegory for blacks or goblins as an allegory for Jews. That seems, well, pretty fucking racist.
Yep. Now, final parts of this section. We will be going on to politics after this, and this is a crossover politics, but there's a lot of nerding involved in it, so you don't need to bug out, Dave. This one I think you actually might be interested in. Have you seen the creating a series called Y, The Last Man?
Oh God, here we go. Because I actually own all the comic books. Let's do this.
Brilliant. Actually, that's good. Now, I would like your opinion on what they're doing, because I actually think that they're going to make a huge mistake by doing this, because technically they are going to be admitting that women need men and men need women. The survivability of the race will cease to exist if one is gone. Yeah, tell me I'm wrong and explain why.
Okay. So to recap a little bit for the people that don't know, this book, original series, was written pre-Obama era. It was written originally in 2006, and it lasted for a little over 50 issues, I believe. I have just the collected work. And it has some great art. It has some very wonderful covers. The storytelling is solid, and it touches upon a lot of material. And what happens it's kind of interesting that in the long run you realize a Chinese scientist released the virus, so to speak, that wipes out humanity. So I'm not saying anything, saucy here, but Yorick Brown, he's not even the main protagonist. While he starts out as the main protagonist, he becomes a secondary and tertiary protagonist because other people come along, like Dr. Allison Mann and Agent 355, which is the actual name of a woman who was in George Washington's Secret Service during the Revolutionary War. This is just a title that transfers. And I'm going to give you a spoiler here. Her presumed name is somehow Peace, but they don't say, they never, you only know her as 355. So what happens is, during the entirety of the series, you take the Yorick Brown is eventually the everyman. He loves a girl named Beth who is stuck in Australia during this entire incident. And I will tell people to go find the books or go read this, because the TV series will never do it justice, because everybody takes artistic license, even though the format that it's on could literally copy the books page per page if they wanted to, and it would be great. What happens is, as they go along their journey, they talk about, they kind of, this is what kind of sort of did or didn't happen about the virus and how it's released, and there's no real clear answer, but you find out this is what people will do when this stuff happens. You will find out that people become religious zealots, such as the Amazons, and I'm not talking like the awesome Wonder Woman type shit. We're talking about those who literally take it seriously to where they cut off a breast so they can shoot bows and arrows.
Yeah.
Run by a liberal, pseudo-liberal nut job who basically kill all men. We can survive without them, destroy the sperm banks, and not realizing in the zealotry, if there's no, even if there's no men, if there's no sperm, you're not going to have other women, and our race would die out, species would die out within 50 years, dumbasses. You find out his personal and his sister Hero, because these two characters are named after Shakespearean people, by the way.
Yeah.
You find out what happens about the president being gone. You find out the secession of, if this person's gone, this person's gone, this person's gone, then the Secretary of Agriculture or some shit becomes the president and all this other stuff. And you find out through the entire series how people work without men. And Yorick calls a lot of bullshit. One of the biggest things, which I know they will not touch on, and if they do, good luck, they will not touch upon shooting galleries, which is, if you're not an American and you know this, you should know what a shooting gallery is. It's basically, you take a place and you make it into a drug den. And they point out that the what is the one in the famous opera house in Australia, the one that everybody sees the pictures of.
Literally,
That becomes
Sydney Opera House. Yeah, I know
right.
the
The
one.
Sydney Opera House becomes a shooting gallery because women don't know how to feel good. And I'm not talking about getting banged, knocked up late or whatever. They don't know how to cope. So it becomes a shooting gallery. They become drug addicts. And this is like, well, when all the men died, the opium fields and all this other shit, which I say read the book, but you find out all these things that women do or don't do to cope with this. And you find out that they say, I miss my husband, I miss my partner, I miss my boyfriend. And then there are some that say, well, and like you get to the section with Marysville being a town run by women who were in jail for the pettiest things on the planet. And they talk about, and this series talks about socio-political issues in a very intelligent way. And so what happens by the end of the book is they have, and I'm going to give, I'm not going to give spoilers here, but they figured out how to bring humanity back from extinction. And while you can read the end of the book as, oh, well, because men are no longer around, women can, utopia and all this other shit, you find out that's just a visual thing and that there are cracks underneath the surface.
Oh, yeah.
The thing I will tell you is that they're going to make Agent 355 into a BLM angry liberal feminist archetype. That's not what she was in the comic book at all. And the one spoiler I will give is that she and Yorick fell in love because they got to know each other so well. And 355 being a black woman and Yorick being this, skinny white kid and who oddly enough ends up looking like Dr. Venture by the end of the series in a certain way. Rusty Venture, totally full Rusty Venture somehow. They're going to butcher this. They're going to screw this up. They're going to make Yorick a simp. They're going to try to make 355 BLM. They're going to play off every modern stereotype, and the problem is they won't stick to the time frame that it was created. They're gonna bring Orange Man bad. They're gonna bring all these modern politics into a TV show that doesn't need it, because when this thing goes down, none of these, our timelines does not exist. It's like in Star Trek, where the Third World War happened by the early to mid 90s, and so everything that we're doing now doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's how they're gonna do it. They're gonna screw everything up. They're gonna say, oh, we took the basis of the comic book series, and I'll be like, yeah, and you fucked it over because you didn't pay attention to the story. You're choosing to put your own political agenda into it, socio-political agenda into it, geopolitical agenda into it, and you're not gonna really touch upon any of the character development of Yorick or 355 or Allison Mann or any of the two Beths, or what happens with Ampersand the monkey. You're going to make it severely superficial and put all these political messages in it to where they don't really exist, because the timeline you live in does not exist according to the book.
Right. If I may,
And
I'd
I
like to ask a
will
couple of
leave, and
questions
when this
about it.
video comes up,
Yep.
I will leave a link to a comic book website where you can read the book yourself.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about it, and they're probably going to sound stupid, but what the hell? Am I correct in suggesting that this disease that wipes out all men is suddenly neutralized, or does it continue to wipe out all men? Because after all, 99% of diseases, they kind of stick around a bit.
By the end of the book, there's like a 50 or a 60-year time span. And like with anything else, things, you get vaccines or things neutralize or burn themselves out. The thing is, this particular disease, this particular virus, which is never given a name and never really given an origin, only really attacks the Y chromosome.
Yeah.
And so you'll find, and if you were to read the book, you wonder if you find, and you really find out, you only find out why Yorick lived, which is, it's literally batshit insane, and it's not bat, it's monkey poo.
Okay. All right, fair. Doku, anything you want to say about it, mate?
Oh no, I've read the book. I actually ended up tagging Hirohei in one of the someone on Twitter decided to show the trailer for it, and a bunch of people were freaking out, like, oh my god, a world without men. You're the one who caused all the car accidents, and people were just losing their shit, and I thought it was funny, so I tagged him in that, and he actually did a video on it, and he did give me credit for the tag. So yeah, thank you for that, Hirohei. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but I'm glad you got a laugh out of that, because I thought it was funny. Yeah, people freaking out about something, which I guarantee you, the majority of people freaking out about it, if not all of them, probably have never read the book.
Yeah.
No, and they haven't, and that's the one thing B.R.B consistently brings up in his videos about he riffs on CinemaSins so hard, and that's fine. But the books do matter. There are book versions, and then there are TV versions adapted from books, and as always, there is creative license for the fact that you cannot always go panel by panel from a book or page by page from a book to a visual medium. And then there's going off the fucking deep end, which is what this show's going to do. And the people who've read the book and who love the book, like me, we're going to be like, that's not how that works.
Well, what the Twitter comments were freaking out about is how, like, all these cars are crashing and people are dying, planes are falling. And Twitter was freaking out because it's like, oh, well, they're saying like women are all bad drivers and this and that. It's like,
no, they didn't read the book. They didn't read the book.
What the hell? Well, it's like, what the hell do you think is going to happen if half the population just dies while they're flying an airplane or driving a car? Like, yeah, it's going to be chaos.
You need to send me that on Twitter so I can respond with what I'm about to say. The same shit happened in Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. It's like, you blink half the population out of existence. Do you expect the helicopters and planes to stay in the sky regardless of who's flying them? That's not how it works, dumbasses.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Yeah, the planes that are being flown by women are. Yeah, they might land safely, assuming the runway is still intact because the plane didn't crash
You
right
have read
upon
the books,
landing.
right?
I have.
You know who actually was an airline stewardess, and
Yep.
who? Yep. And there's
That's part of the reason I'm bringing that up.
there's an actual character in the book who tells her story, and she's basically pointed out, well, when this percentage of whatever is men are doing these jobs, and we are untrained because of whatever reason, or we don't go into these vocations. And she tries landing the. I'm going to give spoilers for people to read the book. When she tries landing the plane, she fucking fails. She's the only survivor.
Yeah, and it also, again, you crash a plane while you're trying to land it on a runway. What do you think's going to happen for all the other planes that are trying
Yeah.
to land?
and 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 if and if and if this airborne virus acts as fast as it did, which was practically instantaneous, if a man is in this series, in regards to this book series, if a man's driving a car and he dies, of course he's going to hit something, or of course he's going to run into somebody, or this plane's going to go down, or this helicopter's going to go down, or all this production is going to stop, because the vocations of men in the workforce are this, as opposed to the vocations of women are this. And it touches upon that equal pay shit. It's like, well, if you don't take the time to go into the field, why would you get paid for anything? Or why would you know how to do any of this? I believe it's Beth #2 that gives birth to Yorick's child is the one that's the airline stewardess. And she's like, I wasn't trained for this. I was going to college for this other thing, and I was just a stewardess to pay the bills. How the hell would she know how to land a plane? She doesn't. That's the thing, and that's what this book so touches upon in a lot of characters' backstories. And they're going to blunder everything in this TV series because they are not properly adapting the media. And so
That's why I'm not going to
I'm
watch it.
going to make I'm not going to watch because I don't have time. I've got stuff on DVD I have still yet to watch. I have other stuff to deal with, and I work full time again. And I'll leave a link to read the damn books when you have time, and I would suggest you go out and buy the volumes, because I can tell you I can tell you that if they were to reprint this, I would not be surprised if I picked up a reprint issue and certain panels start disappearing, and like because they'll change it to fit the narrative of the TV show, and they're going to make Yorick an idiot. Yorick was a lovesick fool, but he learned survival skills. He learned how to deal with uh, everything that happened,
Okay,
and they're not going to touch upon it.
I'm going to cross this over into politics with this one last bit, and that is, and I would love to see how these leftists are going to actually explain this show involving the transgender people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's.
I need to touch upon that real quick. In the
Okay.
book,
All right.
they don't necessarily touch upon that, but they make note of women dressing up as men
Mhm.
so that other women didn't feel lonely. And it was a type of sex work, but it was the fact it was to psychologically help other women not feel alone and either become victims of the shooting gallery or off themselves. So that's what the book does touch upon, and I thought that was one of the things that was really good. It's like, yes, that would happen, and it's not necessarily becoming transgender; it's cross dressing. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it's like it's emotionally and psychologically saying we're all in this. It's a tough thing. We're all in this together. And if certain types of women look a certain way and they're going to dress a certain way and they do a certain thing for other women, you could call it immoral and you could call it immoral and unethical, but the same standards and rules don't apply in that timeline, which we don't exist in. So I don't know how they're going to handle it because it was never touched upon in the book. Only that women cross dressed and had others, which is, I say, go read the books, and other ways to cope. And so other women didn't feel alone or didn't feel like they had to end their lives because they missed their husbands, their boyfriends, or their partners, or even their sons. So
To clarify what I meant by that, though, is, see, a lot of these leftists are actually trying to say that there is no such thing as gender, and transgender women are real women Well, when they drop down dead, that's going to actually
Yeah.
prove the point. So, again, how the hell do they explain this? But to let you know, Dave, we're going straight into politics after this, mate.
That's
I
fine.
understand if you don't want to be around for that, but if you do, you are welcome to stay.
Yeah, I'll stay. I've got the day off for once.
Okay.
I got to get my car fixed because the window is stuck in the door. I think the motor went out, and it's like whatever. And it's raining. Thanks.
Oh, awesome. Doku, you had a thing to say, didn't you, about politics?
Okay, so there's two important things to touch on right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to I'm going to touch on the less political one first.
Okay.
So the FDA has officially approved the Pfizer vaccine for the cough that we're not allowed to reference on YouTube.
Hmm.
Now they've approved it officially for 16 and older. And I'm not going to give my personal opinion. If you want to get the jab, get the jab. If you don't, well, whatever. Speak to your doctor. I'm not a doctor, not medical advice. And but this is going to spark one hell of a conversation because I know there's going to be two different arguments that come out of this. The first one being, oh, it's FDA approved, and they're going to use that as, well, if you don't want to get it, then it needs to be mandated. You will see that narrative come out in the future, if not today. That will happen. Mark my words, it will happen. And you're going to see the other side of the coin going, well, wait, people who've already gotten the jab are still getting sick. So it's clearly not a vaccine. And there's going to be a third argument that's going to come out because it's approved for people 16 and older. So you're kind of start seeing people going, well, why are you trying to give this vaccine, FDA approved or not, to people under the age of 16? This is going to start heating up and it's going to put a lot of pressure on people. And some people might cave and end up just getting it because they have to. Their employers are going to feel some pressure. This is going to get a little more intense. And again, I'm not giving my personal opinion about it. This is just an observation. And mark my words, this will happen. I will stand by this statement right here, right now. If it doesn't happen, I will eat crow. I will come on the live stream and admit I was wrong, but I'm pretty damn confident about my prediction. This is going to spark a very, very heated debate.
I'm going to only give my 2 cents on this and then opt out because this is something I have just my opinion is my belief is very sharp. It doesn't
Okay.
matter if it's FDA approved or not. It should have been from the get-go, and a lot of times FDA trials take many, many years. The problem is going to be when companies to try to decide, regardless of like what the governors say that you don't have to wear masks, you don't have to do this. They start trying to pull this 1930s Nazis SSBS. Oh, you have to have a vaccine card and show us, or you can't get a job, you can't hold down a job, you can't buy food. Massive violations of the United States Constitution, Civil Rights Act, ADA of 1990, and so on and so forth. Not to mention the violation of HIPAA. I would suggest people, companies that want to pull this crap, like Walmart, they say, well, if they want to do this thing, well, you have to prove that you're vaccinated, you can't hire. Fine. I want everybody to leave, to quit, cash in, and these businesses across the board, regardless of who they are, will be doing more paperwork than they have ever possibly imagined because they can't keep people now. If they say this to even go grocery shopping, I want people to riot and burn down their grocery store. To teach these grocery stores, you can't do this. You cannot basically take away the fundamental right of food. You cannot take the fundamental right of Maslow's hierarchy in general, which has basically been adapted into Bill of Rights, the United States Constitution, and every rights act across the board, regardless of your skin tone, regardless if you're gay, straight, tall, short, whatever. You're basically saying, do this or else. You have essentially turned into Nazis. And I want everybody to rebel and everybody to say, we're not going to take it. And those that basically bend over and take it up the ass, you can burn, because you basically are saying to everybody else, conform or die. You're going to find out how fast people are, they're going to show their true colors even more than when they did with President Trump. My personal thing is, don't. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. But don't tell people one way or the other they do or don't have to. We only suffer through this crap because of baby boomers. And that there's nothing that has been proven otherwise. Otherwise, why would say, well, you don't care about grandma? No, I don't. Every generation, baby boomers are called baby boomers because there was a mass birth rate. Dumbasses, there's going to be a massive death rate, and they will use this as a grifting tool. Get the fuck over it. Don't expect a large population to not have a large birth rate, to not have a large death rate. Not that hard to figure out. But don't try to deny people basic living and existing rights, such as food, shelter, and clothing, to get a vaccine that should have been FDA approved first. This is all political. This is, as Sticks Hex and Hammer has pointed out, sometimes he's wrong and a lot of times he's right. This is this generation's 9/11, and they want to see how far you will let them take away your freedom. The difference is you're not dealing with just Gen X and millennials. There's Gen Z. There's this generation after generation of the millennials that likes Gen X, is like Gen X a lot, and they're saying, fuck you. So that's my piece, and I'm opting out.
Just a fun little, this is not an opinion of mine, it's just a fun little factoid. Prior to this FDA approval of the vaccine, the fastest vaccine that was ever developed by humanity, it was 5 years of clinical trial and experiment before it even got approved. It took them 5 years.
And HIPAA didn't exist back then either. I've told people, I said, I've been told, hey, we need to see that you've been vaccinated. I said, yeah, sign and release a consent form, asshole, because that's HIPAA, protected by HIPAA, and they shut up. And I suggest more people do that. So I'm going to go back to the chat and let you guys do your thing. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on, mate. That was very nice of you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw out that little piece of information because that's news as of today. I believe that came out a couple hours ago.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Right. Being the foreigner, I just want to clarify, the FDA, is that the Food and Drug Administration or the drug?
Yeah, Food and Drug Administration.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify, being a foreigner,
Yep, and it's only the Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah.
So it's only one of them. So we'll see how this plays out as the days go by. But I wanted to get that one out of the way because it's not really breaking news at this point in time, but it is news as of today. So just wanted to throw that out there. But let's get into let's get into some politics.
But just before you do, you sound so depressed. Just letting you know. Okay? You truly was. Let's get into politics.
Yeah.
I don't know if you meant to say it that way, but that was how it came across.
So there's two things I want to talk about. And the first one is I believe it's Midas Touch and also Actually American, which is a Democrat super PAC, and how every single time they want to do something, they get a hashtag going on Twitter. And it's astonishing to me because it's so blatantly fucking propaganda that it's mind-boggling. Midas Touch will come out with a video And as soon as Midas Touch does, Actually American will come out and say, we should trend this video with this hashtag, and it trends. And it's never anything of substance. They're never actually doing anything. It's just they're getting hashtags trending on social media, getting videos to go viral. And a lot of them, it's not even people saying anything. It's just hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. I wonder how many of them are actual bots.
Yep.
But without going down that rabbit hole, I've noticed they've shifted away from the orange man bad rhetoric to trying to, I think Pasky Bomb was the last one they had trending instead of America's biggest loser, right at the same time that Joe impeached Joe Biden Harris was going. It
Mm-hmm.
it seems like they've actually realized something that's very important to point out. When you're the in power group
Yep.
pointing out it Orange Man bad, who's not in power, Republicans bad, who aren't the in power group, it kind of loses its impact when you're the ones in power and under your watch, buck stops with you. It seems to be an absolute catastrophe. And you can't fight an organic hashtag where, Biden is a failure, impeach Biden Harris. But they come out and try to push this shit. And just say, people that are donating to this shit, this is where your money is going. Your money is going to people who are hiring people to push hashtags on Twitter, but aren't doing a damn thing to better the country. They're just spending your money to try to push Orange Man bad, but they can't do a damn thing to make America better. They can't build back better. Your whole build back better thing went down the fucking shitter so damn fast. Uh, Taco Bell would be damn jealous. The only thing they have to campaign on is Republicans are Nazis and Trump is bad and there's roving bands of fascists and KKK in the streets that we can't seem to find. But Boogeyman, and they just trend this shit on Twitter, and you're paying them for this shit. Like this is where your donations are going. You're donating so a hashtag can get fucking trending on Twitter. That's what your fucking donations are going for, liberals, Democrats. This is what you're paying for. Like, you're not solving anything. It's like the same thing with fucking Black Lives Matter. Yeah, let's donate money to Black Lives Matter, and it goes to fucking Act Blue that gives it to Bernie Sanders or whatever political pundit or campaign that they're going to donate to. Has it done anything for the black community?
No.
Not a damn thing. How many black children have you saved? How many schools and community centers have you helped build? Not a damn one. Not one. Not a single one. And as a matter of fact, Black Lives Matter has helped burn down more black businesses than any fucking political movement of the past 10 damn years. And you're donating to this shit, you fucking morons.
Yeah. Just so you know, I did send you a little thing in your Discord DMs without speaking about it until you decide you're ready to. Take a little look, mate, and I just want to see how much you want to start laughing. So, yeah.
Okay.
This is going to be fun because he either knows about this or he doesn't, and he's going to go mental.
I don't.
Do you know about this? Do you know about this yet?
I don't. But let's.
Okay, hold it. Before you do, this is from CBS. Now, for obvious reasons, being British, I don't really know bugger all about this. I realise it's mainstream media, and we know exactly what we think about mainstream media, but do you consider CBS in any way trustworthy?
Well, they're not the worst, but they're not trustworthy.
Okie dokie. If when you decide you are ready, do link this so as everyone can have a little chuckle because I think we all deserve a chuckle, don't you, mate?
I will. You know what? I'll do you one better.
Okie
Because this will help pad things out before I get into what I really want to talk about.
dokie. No problem. By the way, this isn't a joke. This isn't Babylon B. Are we all ready? Climate change and the Taliban.
I you really can't make this shit up at this point in time.
No.
So let's go ahead and entertain the audience, and we'll read through whatever this god awful is this even an argument? How dare you?
I'm so glad you did that. Mm-hmm.
How dare you? All right, so from CBS News, by Kara. Kara? I'm gonna guess it's Kara.
Probably.
Corte.
Yep.
You know, how climate change helps strengthen the Taliban, from August 20th, 2011, from CBS News. God, let me take a fucking drink before we get into this.
Yeah. Do enjoy this. This is it's. I don't actually know what it is, but the way I see it is, you're going to know a damn sight more about CBS than me. Are they trolling? I pray to freaking God they are.
Well, we're gonna find out, because I have not heard this story, nor have I read this article. So let's, as Philip the Shilko would say, let's just jump right into it. Rural Afghanistan has been rocked by climate change. The past 3 decades have brought floods and drought that have destroyed crops and left people hungry. And the Taliban, likely without knowing climate change was the cause, have taken advantage of that pain. While agriculture is the source of income for more than 60% of Afghans, more than 80% of conflicts in the country are linked to natural resources, according to a joint study. What study? You know what? Fuck that. No, I don't care. By the World Food Program. Where are your editors? The United States. Wait, is that how it's really spelled? Maybe it is. Never mind. The United States Environment Program and Afghan's National Environmental Protection Agency. In 2019, Afghanistan ranks 6th in the world for countries most impacted by climate change, according to German Watch Global Climate Risk Index. Over the last 20 years, agriculture has rated from 20 to 40% of Afghanistan's GDP, according to the World Bank. The country is famous for its pomegranates, pine nuts, raisins, and more. Opium. However, however, climate change has made farming increasingly difficult. Whether from drought or flood-ravaged soil, farmers in the region struggle to maintain productive crops and livestock. When they cannot profitably farm, they are forced to borrow funds to survive. When Afghans can't pay off lenders, the Taliban often steps in to sow government resentment. If you've lost your crop and land, or the Afghan government hasn't paid enough attention to you, then of course the Taliban can come and exploit it, said Kamal Alam, a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council South Asia Center. The Taliban has capitalized on the agricultural stress and distrust in government to recruit supporters. Alam said the group has the means to pay fighters more, $5-10 per day, than what they could make farming. What they can make farming. I'm pretty sure that,
Yeah.
Farmers fall into choices. That's when they become prey to people who would tell them, look, the government is screwing you over and this land should be productive. They're not helping you. Come and join us. Let's topple this government, said Nadim Frajala, director of the Climate Change and Environment Program at the American University of Beirut. And the mountainous north snow and glaciers have melted more quickly and earlier than ever before, at times flooding fields and irrigation systems, but also leading to a snowmelt related drought in the winter. In the south and west, some areas have seen heavy precipitation events increase by 10 to 25% over the past 30 years. That's over 20, huh?
Yeah. That'll do. I think people have got the idea exactly how dumbass this is.
Yeah,
So,
let's just stop.
yeah.
That's enough. That's enough
So
of that.
basically, everything that's going on in Afghanistan is happening because of climate change.
I mean,
Now,
they couldn't blame Orange Man, and well, they tried, but it just didn't
yeah.
stick. So now we're just circling through to see what sticks.
Yeah. So, your thoughts, apart from giggling like a madman at this moment?
Uh,
Even I want to laugh at this.
so climate change is the reason that the Taliban rose to power, but the regions you bring up are theoretically don't have large amounts of greenhouse gases because they're not industrialized unless goats are really farting that much.
Yeah. You see how bad America is? It's deliberately sneaking all its pollution over just to hurt these poor, innocent Taliban.
And I just didn't realize that goat farts were 10 times worse than cow farts. In a mountainous, arid region. It, mm.
Mhm.
Oh, by the way, that little 30 over the past 30 years, we haven't even been in Afghanistan that long, so you can't even blame the bombs. It's almost like the Earth has a cycle of climate change that it goes through that is, ironically enough, not entirely attributed to human activity. Huh. Imagine that.
You understand why I wanted you to see that, though, just out of its pure, unbelievable dumbassness. It had to be read out so as people could see this, just so as they could sit there, scratch their head, going, "Wow."
I mean, I love to call out ignoramuses when they say, "Oh, but the Industrial Revolution and human activity and burning coal and everything."
Mhm.
Yeah, you know we had a ice age before there was ever a steam engine, right? Right? You know that happened, right? No, no, we're not gonna talk about that little inconvenient fact. It okay, fine, all right.
No, just admit they're correct and shut up.
Uh,
Yeah.
anyways, let's move on to what I really wanted to talk about today.
Go ahead.
So, did you hear about Portland?
You mean the shooting? Yeah.
So, and this is a rare opportunity where I get to point at the left and the right and say, "You're both fucking dumb.
Hmm.
You're both idiots." So, of course, the Summer of Love event happened. It's Summer of Love. And let's be blunt. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Yes, Antifa did start attacking people who aren't Antifa long before the Proud Boys or Patriot Prayer were ever a thing. Mostly Proud Boys, but it, people started banding together because they're, well, tired of being attacked by, well, ridiculous far left radicals who dress all in black that the government seems to think is just an idea, despite actually attacking people and having a charter and organizing on social media. But no, it's just an idea. But they have now become a a self-fulfilling prophecy. They've become an Ouroboros of sorts.
Hmm.
So So you want to have this Summer of Love event, and of course the Proud Boys are going to show up because they know Antifa is going to show up. Antifa advertises the fact they're going to show up. So Antifa and Proud Boys show up at the same event, and they fight each other because
No,
this is
really?
because this is the way we do things now. Apparently, because the cops just won't get involved, whether it's because they've been told to stand down, or it's because they've been defunded, or because the cops just said "fuck you, I quit." Not the point. So the point now is you have Antifa that hates anyone who's not Antifa, knows that people who aren't Antifa are gonna host an event, so they show up to attack them and do what Antifa does. And so the Proud Boys show up knowing that Antifa's gonna do whatever Antifa does, and they're gonna do what the Proud Boys do, and the whole thing's gonna turn into a ridiculous fucking street brawl. And the cops aren't gonna step in. So of course this happens. So I'm not even gonna get into the shooting because yeah, there was a shooting that happened. It was a shootout. It apparently someone shot first and then someone shot back. They were none of these neither group is innocent on that one. It literally turned into a fucking shootout. Not the larger event, but there was apparently a shootout.
Yep.
Although it is strange that Temple had brought up. Apparently, Antifa said they had snipers posted around Portland. So it's like, oh, so they're actually bringing guns to the fight. We're no longer we're evolving past throwing fireworks. We're actually bringing guns like as a thing. Like that's yeah, okay. I guess that's what happens when you defund the police, but neither here nor
Well,
there.
one sec, just one sec. Because I've said this before, we are heading toward Mad Max, people. I have said this repeatedly for about 5 years now. I have said this, and I just get laughed at. And now we're the people are bringing snipers into an urban environment. Mad Max is coming. I'm not joking, people. I'm being serious. Don't think I'm laughing. This is happening. Go on, Doku.
And so this is kind of the reason I wanted to bring this up. So we'll just touch on the escalation aspect first. What people don't realize is the far left and the far right are not going to give up their guns. If you think that being pro Second Amendment is a distinctively, exclusively far right stance, which it's not, but
No.
no, the left doesn't want to give up their guns either. They want escalation. Let's just be perfectly blunt. They do.
Yeah.
There's a reason that they're the ones who started committing to force before the far right ever started doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was the far left that actually committed to violence first. If you don't believe me, go back to the Obama era and find me a Proud Boy group. You won't. You can't because they didn't exist. But you can find BLM. You can find Antifa. It's just they weren't reported on. But you can find it. They haven't changed. It was the far left attacking what they can perceive to be the far right, which is mostly just anybody center or right of center. You can't go back to 2014, 2015 and find roving bands of KKK members terrorizing entire populations and communities because, again, it didn't exist. It's an absolute fucking false boogeyman narrative that they use to justify their actions. But the far left is the ones that started this escalation of violence, and nobody did anything about it. So guess what? People got tired of it, so they started fighting back because police wouldn't do anything. And as soon as they did, oh my God, far right extremism and roving bands of KKK and neo Nazis. Except that had nothing to do with that. They quite literally are fighting back against Antifa, who are far left extremists. It is a reaction to a problem that you didn't solve and you chose to ignore or you allowed to exist, or you encouraged in some instances. So yeah, you're getting pushback. You're watching the pendulum swing the other way. So this is what you're seeing. The right shows up just simply by existing. The far left shows up and they fight. That's what happens. Now it's escalating to the point where they're bringing guns. But you know who brought guns first? I don't know. Maybe the people who are shooting police officers trying to eat lunch in a car. Maybe people who are don't want their businesses to get burned down. I look at what happened in Minneapolis. People died in fires because, well, when you're done looting the building, you light it on fire, and innocent people die who have nothing to do with the Proud Boys or Patriot Prayer, by the way. They're absolute innocent civilians. Probably don't even know what the hell's going on. Probably don't even know who the fuck Antifa is. But this is what they do. So, of course, you're going to get pushback. Well, now it's escalating to the point, and if I need to remind anyone, remember when those evil far right wingers showed up to Richmond or Lansing, Michigan, and nobody was shot and no buildings were burned, even though they were all armed and they even cleaned up their own trash? How atrocious! How terrifying! Nobody died though, but they were all carrying guns. It was intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mean they're exercising their Second Amendment rights and nothing bad happened? Well, now the far left is showing up with firearms. Who do you think's going to shoot first? Do you think it's going to be the people that clean up their trash, or do you think it's going to be the people who establish an autonomous zone, throw fireworks at the police, and light the businesses of innocent civilians on fire and loot them? Who do you think is going to be willing to break the law and take the life of someone who hasn't done jack shit wrong first? Do you think it's going to be the far right, or do you think it's going to be the far left? Let's take a bet.
Wrong question. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't be worried about the person who fires first. And you're thinking, what is he talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. It's the people that return fire because they've been shot at. And that means that these are now the enemy. And we all know that there is only one way a true right winger treats the enemy.
And that's what I find very disturbing about this escalation, because this is indeed an escalation. Because there was no cops to be found. They only showed up much after the fact. But what we have is a situation where far left activists and right activists showed up, both armed, and engaged in a shootout, which didn't end until they were done shooting at each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
So what we also know about the situation is apparently, take it with a grain of salt, but apparently it was not the Proud Boys or the far right that shot first. It was Antifa. It was the far leftists. Because now, apparently, they're done with throwing quick dry cement milkshakes and fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, now we're moving to shooting at each other in the street. We have an Antifa account saying they're bringing snipers, an account that was quickly deleted, but not quick enough because the internet never forgets. So, who do you think is the one escalating? Because I guarantee if Antifa didn't attack people just because I don't like what you believe, the Proud Boys would never have existed. Their whole point is to, frat boy bar brawl against Antifa. That's why the Proud Boys exist. They exist to attack Antifa because Antifa attacked them first. That's why they exist.
Decker, Jim wants to know, are you at home?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted you to know what's being said. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near DC or the cities at this point in time. I'm not that stupid.
I would like to note that you're saying about how the left like to have their weapons. Have you ever read the thing with the communists? How she says, "Do not ever give up your weapons to the government. Hold your weapons high." Have you read that bit, mate?
I have, and that's the thing.
Hmm.
You're not gonna win over any of the extreme left by saying we're gonna take away your guns. Nah, dude, and the far left likes their guns just as much as the right does. And they have
Jim
their.
Jim has asked you to have a beer with him.
In that case, Jim, cheers.
Mhm. Right.
All right, there we go. So this gets to the point where I actually can criticize both the left and the right for being absolutely moronic. If if Antifa never attacked people that ideologically disagree with them, they wouldn't be fighting back. You would never have base stickman. You wouldn't have it. You wouldn't have the roving bands of Proud Boys and Patriot whatever, and basically chasing you out and BTFOing you, making you look like a bunch of fools. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. But of course, here we are. Apparently, violence is the only civil discourse that's allowed. Now it's escalating to the point where we're bringing instead of bringing umbrellas and pepper spray to a firework fight, now we're bringing guns to a fucking umbrella fight. It is escalating quite a bit, and it's not the right that did this. And this is where I get to criticize the right. The right is stupid because oh yes, you're gonna go chase down roving bands of Antifa. You know the press is against you. You know that Antifa is going to put you in a situation where it's gonna make you look, or it's gonna make it look like you're the ones who instigated or escalated when that's not the case. It's not true. It just isn't. Anybody with 5 minutes of time can go onto any form of social media and figure out what the hell actually happened. We have 4 years of it going on. Actually, 5 years at this point in time. This is completely reactionary. It's like with the van that they show pictures of Proud Boys flipping over and has a handicap symbol on the back of it. Yeah, that's an Antifa snack van that they tried to drive into a fucking group of PBS reporters, I think it was. They tried to drive it into a sidewalk and ended up crashing it and drove it like over the sidewalk and into this like little medium with like shit. It's like, oh my god, look at these evil Proud Boys flipping over this handicap van. After the van tried to drive into a group of people walking on the sidewalk. Yeah, that's what actually happened. You can find the video, but of course it'll be spun into like, look, the evil Proud Boys, the evil far right extremists. But the thing is, the far right gets so riled up into this type of shit because they are reactionary. And I don't blame them for being reactionary. If somebody tried to attack me, yeah, I'd probably beat the ever living crap out of them and regret it later because it'd make me look like the bad guy. Because guess what? You might give me a black eye. I'm going to put you in the hospital for fucking 2 weeks if you're lucky. I'll break every single damn bone in your fucking finger, break both your wrists, fucking dislocate each fucking elbow, dislocate each fucking shoulder. And maybe at that point in time, I won't decide to fucking snap your neck if I feel satisfied enough. But
So what you're saying, dude, is you'll disarm them.
technically, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But and so I get it. I understand why you guys react in such a vitriolic way. I would too. I get it. But there's going to be someone watching. There's going to be someone filming. There's going to be someone who takes that out of context, and then they'll plaster it all over social media. And then when the mainstream media finds out about it, they'll sit there and take little clips here, little clip there, and be like, "Look at the evil far right extremists, neo-Nazi, KKK, white supremacists that are attacking innocent civilians with their peaceful fireworks and just covering up their identities to protect themselves from the evil far right extremists, or it's definitely not because they want to hide their identities so the cops can't figure out who they are, so they don't go to jail. Hey FBI, where the fuck you at? But yeah, this is where the right reactionaries towards the far left extremists are dumb. When the van tried to drive into people, drove into the sidewalk, and then drove over the sidewalk, and then people jumped out of the van and tried to run away.
Yep.
You were actually describing your ideal date, weren't you?
Maybe, maybe not. We'll neither confirm nor deny. But this is where you guys are idiots. You didn't need to flip over the fucking van. Hey, yay, we won! Let's flip over the van. Hey, no, that just makes you look like idiots. Don't do that. You're giving them a free photo op to plaster all over God knows how many newspapers and late night TV fucking news shows to say, oh, look at this, because they're never going to give proper context for it. It's just going to make you look like a bunch of deranged fucking lunatics. And to be blunt, you kind of are acting like deranged fucking lunatics. I get why, but it doesn't look good. You're being stupid. Don't do that. That is dumb. It's the same thing I said about January 6th. You should have fucking known better. Don't do it. You're giving the enemy ammunition to use against you to make you look like a bunch of crazed fucking lunatics so they can say, see, they're the real enemy. We need to escalate against them. We need to throw them all in prison. We need to find them. They're the real bad guys, not us.
Yeah, the whole
we
July
didn't
6th
instigate
thing.
them.
The whole July 6th thing. They had every right to go to the Capitol and demonstrate and protest. But that's all they should have done. They shouldn't have actually invaded the buildings.
And see, that's my point. You guys take it too far because, yes, I get it. You've been trampled on, you've been spit on, you've been pushed on, you've been attacked, you've been treated like shit, you've been called every name in the fucking book. I get it. You're mad. But you're letting your emotions get the better of you, and you're doing the one fucking cardinal sin because, let's be blunt, this is a conflict at this point in time. It is a fucking conflict. The one thing you don't do in a conflict is let your emotions get the better of you and end up making a stupid mistake that ends up giving your enemy the advantage. And that's exactly what you idiots did. You let your fucking emotions take hold, did something stupid, and now the enemy has the initiative and they have a reason to point at you and say, see, look, they're the bad guys, we're the good guys, we were right all along, even though that's complete fucking bullshit fallacy. But to be blunt, people have the attention span of a fucking snail, and most of them are fucking dumb on top of it. You done fucked yourself. You shot yourself in your own foot. And despite the fact that Antifa was the aggressors, they're going to point to you now and do whatever fucking trick in the book they have to pull to brand you as the bad guy. And it's going to fucking work because the media is not on your side. The police department, the politicians, local, federal, state level, are not on your side either, especially sure as shit not in areas like Portland and New York and DC. And guess what? The Democrats are the ones in power in the House, the Senate, and the White House. You just done fucked up because you wanted to have a little victory fucking, let's flip over the van fucking demonstration. And now you look like morons, violent morons, and it will bite you in the ass. You dumb shits.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, we know Antifa are almost all violent morons. Well, violent moronic cowards, we should say. But there are violent morons on the right as well.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I just spent the past 10 minutes criticizing them, because they're giving the enemy what they want. How stupid can you be? Do I need to fucking open up a channel to talk to someone to say, like, hey, what you're doing is fucking dumb?
Probably.
Don't do this. Who the fuck do I need to talk to say, hey, you're doing this, what you're doing is stupid?
Well, the thing is, if intelligent people do something stupid, they will engage in mental gymnastics to prove to themselves they haven't. So you can't tell them.
That's the problem. He's right.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I bet your father did it. I'm going to think of a good excuse for what I said there. Soon. No,
Anyway.
I bet you've done it before, Doku.
I mean, I find ways to justify the reason I think the way I do, and I don't know. You kind of have me between a rock and a hard place on that one, because I'm not above admitting when I'm wrong. It's just you have to prove me wrong first.
Yeah.
That's easy. You're American.
It's true. You are. I'm sorry, man. I know that this might be a shock to your system, but you are American. Okay.
Therefore wrong.
Well, considering the current administration, fuck me, administration that is calling the shots right now.
Oh yeah.
I can't really.
You know how much
talk.
Credit the United States has lost with their behaviour in Kabul.
Oh God, it's fun.
running out in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't one of our generals actually say the Brits shouldn't be trying to protect their own citizens and bring them back home from a fucking war zone?
Yeah, MC is of the opinion that was said in a tongue-in-cheek manner. Not
I've checked up. That's actually real. And just, Doku, I really hope you braced for this, but even the French are doing better than the Americans. I'm so sorry.
And the thing is, even if that was said in a tongue-in-cheek manner, a fucking general who is presiding over a fucking botched withdrawal should not be saying tongue-in-cheek shit.
No,
do your fucking job.
Only leftists have infiltrated the top ranks of the American military.
Too many.
Yeah, sadly the same is true here, but apparently not to the same effect as the United States. I mean, Biden pulled your troops out of Kabul without letting anybody know. So, us in particular, we thought we could still keep our embassy running for a while.
Dude, the Taliban is mocking us by doing a fucking mock recreation of the frickin' raising the flag on Iwo Jima.
Everybody mocks that.
But they're literally doing it in American uniforms paid for by the U.S. taxpayer with a frickin' Taliban flag. And Biden's over here, Biden and his fucking administration over here like, whoa, we don't know how many Americans are left in their shelter in place, and the Taliban aren't killing anybody, which is a fucking lie. And we can't send anybody in to help them, and pay $2,000 if you want to get out. What the fuck?
If a British government had the same kind of debacle as you lot have with the, they wouldn't get in for another 50 years.
Yeah.
They're wondering about how are we gonna fucking bring airstrikes against fucking armor Humvees, fucking light attack aircraft, Black Hawk helicopters, fucking ammunition supplies and depots. You should have fucking destroyed it before you left, you fucking ignoramus, fucking incompetent shitbags. Do you think you're gonna fucking bring an airstrike now? When the Taliban is openly threatening you need to be out by this date, otherwise you're going to suffer the consequences. You're all incompetent, fucking disgraceful pieces of shit.
They shouldn't have destroyed it. What they should have done is heavily irradiated it or contaminated it with some kind of bioweapon.
I would have been okay with that. But no.
You know they're not allowed to use bioweapons. And by the way, I agree completely. But I am a fan of such things. But I'm going to be completely blunt, guys.
Well, no, they're not.
It takes like 5 seconds, and this is if you're taking the piss. It takes 5 seconds to pop a pin and throw a hand grenade onto the ammo. Bye-bye ammo. Really easy. Not technical.
Just rig everything to fucking explode as soon as you freaking turn the fucking ignition. Like,
No. What they should have done, do it so it's foolproof. Rig all your ammo dumps and vehicle pools for demolition, complete and utter. Don't set it off. Leave, but make sure you put proximity sensors in those places. That when the Taliban come to claim them, kaboom.
And that's the thing. We've done that before. It's not even. It's not even a far-fetched concept. We have rigged things to explode when they try to be utilized because, well, it's an effective trap.
Yep.
It works.
By the way, Blubberbutt is in the chat. Hello, MC.
Hmm.
I cannot get fucking beyond how incredibly disgraceful this shit is. But again, yet we have fucking groups on Twitter like, oh, America's biggest loser. Look at Trump. Trump was going to pull us out. He was going to pull out the American citizens and our fucking equipment and all our fucking ammunition and our fucking guns and everything first, and then pull out the military. Even Biden's own fucking advisors were telling him to do this. And no, I'm just going to pull out the troops. Well, why? They even said, don't do that. Like, that's dumb. You already pissed off the fucking Taliban. What the hell do you think they're going to do? And then now you're running like a fucking dog with your tail between your legs shoved so far up your freaking pussy that you can't fucking even stand up to them to say, like, oh, we're not going to bring in any more troops and we're maybe considering airstrikes, while they're sitting there mocking you and fucking beating U.S. citizens when they're trying to reach fucking Kabul to try to get on a damn airplane that you fucking demand they pay $2,000 for, while you fly fucking Afghan refugees without zero vetting over to the fucking United States. Yep. You fucking absolute goddamn disgrace of a fucking ignoramus, fucking ice cream eating lich of a human being.
He's not a human being. He stopped being a human being the day he died.
Yeah. Doku, stop, take a breath. And Jim, you are right. Over here, we call officers like that Ruperts. We like to treat them as basically retarded idiots with pretty uniforms.
And
they say things, we ignore them, we look at the sergeant and we go, well, what do you want us to do? And the sergeant tells us, not the morons with the pretty uniforms.
Yeah,
am I wrong?
You're not, but during times of conflict, those self-same Ruperts, they usually don't come back from the fighting.
Oh, what a shame.
Usually
That's so upsetting.
Usually have loads of bullet holes in their backs.
Yeah. It just shows how much they were charging into combat. An accidental friendly fire must have happened.
Yeah, either that or they turned around to encourage the troops, and they got shot by some enemy soldiers who picked up British weapons.
Yeah, must be. Yeah.
And also, Jim, you're correct on that one. That's something else that really pisses me off. Oh, it's too expensive for us to bring back all the Humvees and the guns and the ammunition and everything. We're just gonna. You know what? Fuck you. If you can spend over $1 trillion on a fucking infrastructure bill, guess what? My fucking tax dollars paid for all that equipment that's been over there for 20 fucking plus years. And no, it's too expensive to bring back. Motherfucker, screw you. Either blow it the fuck up or bring it the fuck back.
Jim, that's that thing about officers who act as if everywhere is in the United States. That's the problem with most Americans. I've found it's not because they're stupid; it's because you're isolationists. You tend not to look at the rest of the world, and therefore, when you do, you think, "Oh, they're just like they do everything exactly the same as us." Then you go to a foreign country, and you're surprised when you do something, and people look as if you've got 3 heads and one of them stuck up your ass.
Well, and this is what's so damn disgraceful. It's not like you don't have any fucking military bases in another fucking neighboring country now, do you?
Yeah, but
too expensive to bring back to the United States. Then drive it to fucking Iraq.
Doku. Yeah, you've got those bases in foreign countries, but generally, most military personnel, British included, who serve on a military base in a foreign country tend not to leave the base.
But you left the fucking equipment behind with no one to guard it, perfectly fucking operational, so the Taliban can walk in and just claim it like, hey, look at our fancy new fucking birthday present. You could have driven it to fucking Iraq. You could have driven the ship back to fucking Europe. You could put it on a fucking boat. Saudi Arabia is still a fucking ally. Have you seen the fucking size of the fucking container ships? Do you know how fucking badly container ships want fucking business? Maybe
I
the
can
fucking
explain
United
that.
States military wants to fucking put their fucking equipment on a goddamn container ship and bring it back to the United States rather than let the fucking military equipment that the fucking taxpayer has been paying for fall into the hands of the enemy. So you could have put it on a fucking container ship and brought it back and then fucking decommissioned it instead of letting it fall into the hands of people who want to fucking blow your goddamn brains out. You fucking goddamn.
I can explain that.
I'm done.
Yep.
I can explain that.
Before you
Right.
do, and want to respond to Moondog, dude, I totally understand, mate.
Yep.
Yes, shit like that has happened, and I get the whole fact that we've lost people. I know this, unfortunately, far too fucking clearly. Unfortunately, war is war. It is
Yep.
what it is. I'm sad to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself for a moment while you guys talk. I'm gonna go smoke.
Hold on a minute, Doku. I've got something to say to you.
Okay.
You're forgetting one thing. That moving all this shit to a nearby base in a friendly country.
Mhm.
Biden forgot about those countries are there.
Damn it! Thank you. That was funny. That was good. I needed a laugh. I appreciate that, Batman. I really do.
You're welcome.
In case you can't tell, this type of shit ruffles my feathers a little bit.
I wouldn't have noticed that. So you hide it well.
He does. He does. Hey, think of it this way, Batman. At least he hasn't had to deal with a jumped up monkey sitting there being a terrorist apologist. I'm sure that would get such a bad reaction. Luckily, we don't know anyone that would do that.
Well, not even
Mhm.
Sadiq Khan would do that. Oh, wait.
Oh, God. You don't know about that, do you, Batman? Oh, God.
Come on.
Oh, crap. I thought you knew. My bad.
Come on.
I'm okay. MC was rather unhappy with this thing that's going on. with
MC's
Afghanistan.
rather unhappy with everything.
Yeah, no, he really was unhappy. As in, this isn't a joke unhappy. This is really unchuffed. So he invites me on, obviously, and in his genius, he invites Penoid. I'm just going to pause and let that sink in. So, Penoid
What idiot invites Penoid?
I know, but he did. It goes downhill from here. You're going to wonder how it can go downhill. I'm going to tell you. He starts going on about how bad it is. Penoid's trying to argue that America shouldn't be here, America shouldn't be here. And this is where it started to go wrong. It's America's fault. Then he started, and I want you to be ready for this. He became a terrorist apologist. This is Penoid. I don't want you to make any mistakes here. So, you know me for Mr. Subtle.
Mhm.
I actually directly to his face, and now I wouldn't speak to Penoid under 99.999% of the time. Now that's gone over that. But I spoke to him and I said to him about it, and I said, you know what? No, you are a terrorist apologist. Stop it. He didn't respond. So I thought, maybe he didn't hear me. Okay, that's fair. I'm willing to let that one go. So I called him again later directly to his face, and he still didn't respond. So, yeah. Penoid is a terrorist apologist.
And
I can't.
an ignorant cunt by the sound of it as well.
Oh, he was. He really
And
was.
you used to wonder why Sharadi hates him.
No. It's totally understandable. I realise that Doku still talks to him, and you know what? I fully support Doku talking to him. You go right ahead, mate. That's completely up to you.
Is it true that Penoid's favourite method of combat is guerrilla warfare?
I'm just going to remind you with his icon. Okay, don't forget that gorillas also have a dick of maximum 3 inches, and they're one of the worst lovers in ape society.
Actually, apparently, out of all the great apes, because we are a great ape, we have massively overproportioned genitalia.
Yeah. So
I just came back to hear guerrilla warfare, and I kind of love and hate you for that pun at the same time.
it was, wasn't it?
Well, you can just imagine now. Yeah, Pinoid attack. A platoon of soldiers by hiding in a tree and flinging his feces at them.
Yeah.
It makes the situation a little more bearable, actually.
Good.
Yep. Well, now you know why. One of the reasons I have great difficulties having anything to do with the monkey. Okay,
I
mate?
just don't like him because he's a bigot.
Fair, but like I was saying, one sec, Doku, I'm not going to even vaguely try and talk you out of talking to the guy. You go right ahead. Doesn't worry me in the slightest. All right. He just doesn't need to speak to me. I don't need to speak to him. Done.
Yeah. I mean, Pinoid is everything we pretend MC is.
I would never insult MC in that way.
You know what I mean? Pinoid is the kind of he always gives me the impression, not just the impression, it's what he's actually, the way he's actually, things he's actually said before. He thinks Americans are all that, and if you're not American, you're beneath my notice.
And I'll put it to you this way. I'm bad at making enemies, even if certain people I'm friends with say things that I do not forgive them for. But I'm not a good person at making enemies or holding. Well, I'm actually really good at holding grudges. I won't try to pretend. If Kim ever heard me say I wasn't, she would fucking punch me in the fucking nutsack for that one. But I'm not good at making enemies. I'm very good at having heated discussions. But making enemies is something I need to work on.
Yeah, and Jim, I think you mean the Filipinos, but they're like anybody who's got money and isn't Chinese.
Also fair.
To be fair, I'm going to correct myself. If I continue going at the pace I am, I might be able to make an enemy out of the amazing Lucas.
If you keep going at the rate you are, you're going to wind up with a heart in the same condition as a 98-year-old.
I challenge you, Doku. I don't think you could. I don't think you're capable.
Who's the amazing Lucas? Why does that name sound like? Oh, I don't want to know.
It's a prick on the internet, and I'm just going to remind you that we're talking about a lot of people that we consider pricks, but this guy apparently is even more of a prick than most of his other pricks.
Yeah, no, he's an asshole. He's an egotistical son of a bitch. But so am I, so who am I to talk?
Well, calling yourself the amazing anything is a big hint about that. I mean,
yeah,
amazing atheist.
You have a good point there. I actually didn't think about that, but Batman, you bring up a really good point.
Yeah.
Although I will say this. This is probably the one thing I could say that would make me an enemy for the amazing Lucas. I would feel bad talking any more shit about him than I already have, simply watching how many subscribers he's losing and how much his channel is dying, because I know he needs that fucking money.
So it's more like the not that amazing after all, Lucas.
Yeah.
But there are other people that are calling his ass out, so I don't need to.
Just his ass.
That's that thing between his shoulders, isn't it? His ass. That's that thing between his shoulders, yeah?
No, I think he sexually identifies as a Tao, so forehead?
That explains a whole lot.
So he's got front-facing head ass.
Yep.
The moderately amusing Lucas.
Yeah.
And the funny part is Jim is actually relatively correct on that one, and I believe I said it on the last stream talking about him. He does have a sense of humor about him. It's nothing special, but occasionally he'll get a chuckle.
Oh, is it maybe special?
It's true, actually. He could be a back of the bus.
Yeah, the short bus Lucas.
Yeah. Oh,
It-
there's a good name for him. That should be the name of the next show you do about the guy.
The short bus
Okay.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
You
it.
know,
Thank you,
I-
Batman. That's actually a good idea.
Thank
I
you.
wonder if Griffin Gaming would get terribly. I have never talked to Griffin Gaming before. Go find Griffin Gaming's video about Amazing Lucas, where he's like fanboying over the PlayStation, and it's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Griffin Gaming, aka the Leafy clone, I guess. He does sound a lot like Leafy. I gotta say. I wonder if he actually is. I will be wondering that for a while. But they are damn funny videos because I've never seen someone get so upset about I like PlayStation and therefore everyone who likes Xbox is stupid. Like, what the fuck? Are you 12? The fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Yep. He probably is.
Yeah, not wrong. Anyway, do either of you two have any more Politico conversation? We've been going for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I want to bring it towards a close if possible. Doku,
Well, there is.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
go on.
Well,
Oh,
there is
no,
the
no, please go
interesting
first.
fact that I can't think of anything.
Doku, do you have anything to talk about?
The only thing I want to say is the fact that the Biden administration and all their fucking simps and subs and fucking apologists keep trying to blame the evil orange man for the complete absolute failure of this administration. It's rather telling that Dr. Harpine hasn't
hold on a
really
second.
responded to anything I've said.
Hold on a second. Oh my God! If you say Bruce Wayne, I'm going to find you, and I'm going to slice you up. And
Oh,
you're going to be in a restaurant as calamari.
since Omegon is in the chat, Omegon, I have a question for you. I noticed that you did see that article that Jensen and MC had referred to me. Are you ever going to make a video about that? Because I would love to see the rage of the Great Moist One in regard to that.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Oh, dude, when you brought that to my attention, I
thought-
actually bit my tongue to the point it started bleeding. I got a little bit worried.
Oh dear! What a pity we don't care.
Actually, come on. If it wasn't right to give it to you and get you to pass it on to the right people, I don't know anyone better. Do you? He wants to know which article, mate.
Omegon,
tell
it
it.
was the article about the veterinarian that was doing very bad things to animals.
Yeah.
Oh, the witch.
No, that was actually the nicer one. We're actually talking about the guy who would use them in porn shows.
Ah, right. So a
Yeah.
Hollywood producer.
Do you know what? That wouldn't shock me.
That's
Yeah.
the bad
No,
part.
no, no. I do have something to say
Not
now.
inaccurate.
Okay, go for it.
The outright theft and destruction of cultural icons, be they like literary figures, historical figures, or comic book characters, has got to be fought against. We've got to take these things back because they're not these people who are destroying. They're not just destroying them for us; they're destroying them for everybody.
Yeah.
And these things are linchpins of our cultures. You
Well,
destroy them. It's a direct attack, and a successful direct attack on Western culture.
Yeah.
this is kind of an odd little segue, but let's touch on it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I have come to the belief that Hollywood entertainment and the idealizing of these people who essentially play make believe for a living has done far more harm to our society than it has good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hollywood was actually a much better place when the studios kept kept the stars distanced from the public. So you didn't know what a certain star's opinions were. You didn't know what they were like in public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that mystique helped both the stars, the movies. Wait, I know I said both, but also the public as well.
Well, the reason I say this, so just hear me out on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh no, I know I'm not going against it. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more. You never, at least in our era, you don't see any champion of the common man doing what he needs to do either to survive or for his family. You never see again the common man represented in a way. It's always overly grandiose. It's hedonistic.
No, it's because the common man isn't black.
Uh, but
And
it's
trans.
also moved to a point where it's demeaning towards the common man. Like, how dare you be a plebeian? How dare you ever have to work hard for anything and it doesn't just get handed to you? It's it's gotten to the point where rather than idealizing the works and struggles of someone trying to achieve something, it's you should just be a hero and be something great, have everything handed to you, and if you're not, then you're basically spat on.
Yeah.
It's almost retroactive.
Well, it's becoming commonplace now for people to believe that a working man is not entitled to the fruits of his labour.
And it's
We've gone from what was largely a meritocracy to a pile of shit.
Communism.
well, again,
Yeah.
it's
If it was
looked at.
communism and and it was handled right, it would be better than it is now. Not that communism actually works, but it would still be better than it is now.
True.
Well, again, it's portrayed in such a way that if you dare try to step out of your lane or try to make something better for yourself or do something not for yourself but for your family, or God forbid you hold any sort of traditional value, even if it's something as simple as I want to leave something behind for my kids, it's completely demonized.
Especially if you come from one of the minorities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's kind of twisted if you really take a step back and think about it. It's basically telling everybody like, look, if you're not part of the rich elite oligarch, and if you're not a bootlicker to the rich elite oligarchs, but you actually want to make something of yourself, then you're absolute scum of the earth, and you need to be
You're probably a
spat
Nazi.
on. Yeah, you need to be spat on, and it's become, even if it's subtle or overt and in your face, that's becoming the norm more and more and more.
Yep.
With the exception of like maybe your occasional comic book movie that is literally just sit down and eat your popcorn, you stupid fucking pleb.
A prime example is these what if cartoon show that's on now.
We spoke about that earlier.
You've seen
Which
the first
one?
one, right?
Oh, I'm not worried about the first one. Have you seen
I
the one?
I watched the first one. I haven't seen that one yet, but let's touch
Oh,
on that.
God.
Go to Oz. Yeah, Heel versus Babyface.
Yeah.
It's basically if T'Challa was Star-Lord, he would be absolutely perfect. Yeah, and it makes the character bland and boring. Have you seen the Black Panther movie? I mean,
Actually, no, I haven't. But
he's
that's my choice.
perfect person. He's perfect.
God.
He's a good man. He's you can't beat him in a fight. Then he's got this fucking costume, which renders him absolutely indestructible.
Mary said.
The only time he's able to be beaten is when he's out of the costume and he's fighting his half brother.
Marvel, what if Ray Palpatine was a black man?
It is so, isn't it?
Yeah.
I only said it half jokingly, but I'm
You were
laughing
right,
because it's true.
Uh,
Right.
This is why Marvel. Well, this is why DC is never going to get any of my fucking money ever again.
You were right the first time.
Yeah, it's Marvel.
Well,
DC's
Marvel, but
bad
I said DC.
Yeah.
I meant Disney. I meant
I know.
Disney.
No, I know.
Although DC isn't getting any either, because
Well,
it's not because of the wokeism. It's just because DC's writing is absolute trash.
it is now.
Oh yeah, they used to be good. Although
Yeah. But
I
that's
still
the thing.
have the
You could
the
tell.
Dark
You could
Knight
tell.
Metal comics. Those are pretty damn good and fairly recent.
You can tell when an entertainment company is going to go woke. The writing turns to shit,
Yeah.
and then the politics, and then the leftism gets shoved in.
Oh, and then as soon as it does and their sales start going down, it's like, oh my god, it's Comicsgate's fault and all these indie creators that are making things that people actually want to read and pay money for. How dare they?
Have you heard what they're blaming shit on now? The incel movement. There isn't an incel movement.
Wow.
Wait. Okay, hold on.
Incel stands for involuntary celibacy.
I was gonna say, how could there be a movement if it's involuntary?
Yeah.
That's not how that works. You can't be an incel if it's a voluntary move. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Why?
you'd be a V-cell. Oh, sorry, a monk.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they do have a movement. It's called the Catholic Church.
Oof. Yeah.
You can't make this shit up. Wow.
It's bad, isn't it? I know we spoke about it earlier, but I do want to talk about Batman because I find it highly entertaining. Did you know, Batman? They actually reckon that this whole thing with the Taliban is happening because of climate change.
Why am I not surprised?
No, I'm not joking, and I understand if you think I'm taking the piss.
I said, why am I not surprised?
Yeah, fair point, sir.
Everything's climate change's fault these days.
How dare you?
Yeah.
You're stealing our future.
You ran your car over my foot. It's climate change's fault.
Yep. It's horrifying.
Yes,
But
the climate is changing.
It's
It's
does that.
always changing. Sometimes
Yeah.
it changes. Yeah, every so often it changes drastically.
Yeah,
It's-
that's the thing. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Yeah, climate
Yeah.
change is real.
Glaciation, warming periods.
Yeah.
And some of the glaciations have happened very quickly. Some of the warming periods have happened very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was once a time. I think from the early Earth through to after the Cretaceous period, there weren't any fucking polar ice caps.
Mhm.
And according to what I've read, from what was said, judging from the geological record, the sea levels weren't that much higher than they are now, and that's with no ice on the planet.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I have a question.
Go on there.
Do you think the reason the Ice Age ended was because humans kept killing off all the mammoths? Because I mean, if cow farts are that bad, then what do you think mammoths were doing for global warming?
First of all, the ice age hasn't ended. We're just in the warming period. And second of all, you might be onto something.
It's just a method of just a bit of curiosity there. We killed off all the giant farty elephants.
So hold it. So just to clarify, you're telling me that you're blaming all of this climate change on people of darker skin with spears.
No.
Racist.
There was some cave girl out there. Yeah. All these mammoths are warming up the atmosphere. You must do. You're stealing my childhood. How dare you? Ugberg.
The climate change goblin. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, according to Jim, a drone has collided with a plane trying to land. I'm hoping to find out where, because that could be kind of cool.
Oh.
Yeah. In all fairness, drones colliding with planes, it's fairly common, or at least the basis behind it's fairly common. Let's be honest, with the amount of drones that are out there nowadays, I'm surprised there's not more accidents. Let's be honest.
Well, like is apparently it's not uncommon for larger birds like seagulls, for example, to attack drones.
Yes. Yeah, they think they're rivals.
Or food.
True.
Okay, so here we go.
Steve Leto is covering it, apparently.
Drone hits plane, and this time it's a real police. Wait, a police drone? Huh. All right.
Ah.
Over the years, we've brought you many stories that follow the world of aviation and struggles with the yeah. Where's the fucking NAV Canada, the country's air navigation service provider, has not notified anyone about the YRP drone. Transport Canada said. A police drone collided with a Cessna landing at Toronto's Buttonville Airport. Its collision with the aircraft on August 10th was not. The police are awaiting the result of an official investigation. Huh? Yeah, it sounds like it was a police drone that collided with. Well, if it was a Cessna, then that was definitely a private airplane. But yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Wow. Oh. Okay. Unfortunately, Toya, your timing is unfortunately pretty bad. We are literally just about to finish, but thank you for coming along, and it'd be nice to actually see you on the streams at some point.
Yes, it would.
Right.
'Cause we all think you're nice.
We do. Just deal with it. Okay, peoples, I'd like to say thank you to Batman and to Doku for coming on, and I'd like to say thank you to all of you for popping in and listening to the absolute drivel that we wittered on about. Maybe we'll see you next time.
And I'd like to thank Joe Biden for being an absolute fuckhead.
Oh, he is. Anyway.
Oh, and Jensen, before we go, I'd like to remind you about our sponsor, the the thing.
The thing,
and,
yeah.
You
and
know,
don't forget what's it. Whatever you don't forget the what's it. That's quite important.
Oh yeah,
What flavour?
Yeah, just whatever.
Dog face pony soldier flavour.
Yeah, malarkey.
Yeah, that's the one. All right, peoples. Bye bye.
Yeah, go.